It's Tuesday. It's Mark Pyers. I was walking down the road today, looking for another way to ease my mind and help my living. It's Real Talk. It's the daily variety show, Mark Pyers Real Talk. I'm here to connect with you, to amplify your current state. And I'm here with you on day 548 in a row of the Mark Pyers Real Talk show. And today we have an extremely special episode. I'm so excited for this episode. Why are you so excited about this episode, Mark? Well, because we have Ryan Hartwig on, and Ryan is the man responsible for a lot of the video you're seeing, or one of the people responsible for a lot of the video you're seeing right now on censorship and what's going on behind the scenes at Facebook. So, without further ado, Ryan Hartwig, how are you, my friend?
Hey, doing well. Thanks for having me on.
I'm so glad to have you on. This is awesome. So I have to first, before we get going, I have to thank Bulldog, who alerted me to what was going on, and he reached out to you first, and then he kind of connected us here. And I thank you first and foremost for coming out and joining in the Real Talk program.
Yeah, glad to be here.
So I have obviously a lot of questions, and I don't really want to navigate this. I want you to have an opportunity to express yourself. What I find when I've seen a lot of the interviews with you is people do want to get specific things out of you, and I'd rather just hear you speak. I'd rather just have a couple things I want you to get into. Okay, I'll lay this out here, and then you just within your chat let this out. Okay. When did you realize what was going on? When did you see that it was slighted? That, hey, wait a second, why is this being pulled, but that isn't? And then when did you, so this is one part, and the second part is, when did you say, okay, enough is enough? And then the third part is that first day, we're going to talk about this probably later on, but that first day you were like, I'm going to throw a camera on, and I'm walking in this place, and I'm going to have like casual conversation with these people. And that is the third thing, like the Mission Impossible. I want to hear the Mission Impossible of Ryan Hartwig when you went in and you created this entire experience that we're living through right now. So anyway, without further ado, I'm glad to have you on. Let's hear a little bit about your experience.
Yeah, so, excuse me, it's nice to have a kind of an informal chat here. Because, like you say, some of the interviews, like I was on the Alex Jones show last week. I was on like InfoWars, and then I've done a couple other ones like that. But yeah, it's been nuts. Like the last 4 days. So the video came out Thursday. It has almost 230,000 views, which I'm sure it's being... And they froze the views. That the first day it came out, it got to 146,000, and YouTube froze it for like 10 hours.
Really? So they didn't allow it? I find that sometimes I'll put a Trump FaceSwap out, and I'll see it like likes go up, but the views aren't going anywhere. It's a weird thing. Yeah. So so they froze at 140 and change.
And then that night, Thursday night, I was hanging out with my family, and they're all congratulating me, and the counter finally started like later that evening. So it got up to like 170,000. But yeah, on Twitter, I think it's at least, the video is at least like 500,000 at the very least.
This is one of the things I'm curious about too, is each platform has its own algorithm on how content gets out there. And that's always something that's interesting. So you got 147 from one platform and you get 500 from another, same amount of people. But obviously it's the way that they are pushing this content out there, and I'm sure that's a lot of the stuff you're going to discuss with us. So sorry, I didn't want to interrupt, but I just struck me there for a moment. Yeah, so it's been a whirlwind of activity since Thursday. So I did the second day. I think I handled it better. I think I had I kind of understood what was going on, but Thursday was a long day because the video came out at like 8 a.m. Eastern time, and I'm in Arizona, so it was like 5 a.m. Oh wow! So Thursday I was up from like 4 a.m. until like 10 p.m. that night. Yeah. But you know what? When you're hot, brother, you got to go out and you got to take that fire and roll with the coal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you're out there, you're up early on, and you're finally starting to get a feel for it. All of these different questions coming at you, I'm sure.
Yeah. And and then so I started there as a content moderator in 2018. So I was started in March in 2018, and I got hired as a bilingual content moderator. So I was doing content. I was basically monitoring like posts and social media in Latin America. So Mexico, Peru, Argentina, all of South America, Central America. In the first month of training, I had a trainer who told me, she was like, how big a fan she was of Obama and how like Obama is her Patronus charm. So I'm like, okay, that's a little bit weird. Like, because I knew it before that. Like, I was on Facebook a little bit, and I did things politically. I never really been banned before, so I didn't know. I mean, everyone knew they were kind of like, leaning to the left, but so that was like the first hint. I'm like, okay, that's weird. Like, why is she being so political in the training?
Yeah, this is your trainer. This is the person starting you off. And the first thing she's telling you is this.
Yeah. So
Harry Potter.
I'm like,
quote.
okay.
Great.
Yeah.
So that's a good start. So
yeah.
Now, and then also, did you find you had to hide your conservative leaning or the fact that you wanted to be neutral or anything like that? Or what was the environment like?
Initially, I wasn't on North America. I didn't transfer to North America side until about a year later, about a year and a half later. So on the Spanish side, I was like one of the two white guys. I was a gringo, as they call us, a güero. But most Hispanics are fairly conservative, like in their values. So I didn't really run into any issues. We all got along really well. I had a really good camaraderie with them. But I still, while I was on the Spanish side, I still saw all the posts that were relevant to North America because we did some English content as well. Like the overflow from English kind of came into our queues.
Okay.
So I could see everything was going on with, the 2018 midterms. But the first time I realized there was some kind of bias. So the president now of Mexico, his name is Lopez Obrador, and he's super left wing. Like he's buddies with Cuba, with Castro, and he was one of the few countries in South America who actually didn't support Juan Guaido, who's going to become president in Venezuela. So he wholeheartedly supported Nicolas Maduro. So anyways, when he was running for president in summer of 2018. We were seeing all these posts where they were kind of making fun of his son, just like they made fun of Barron Trump. And his son was about the same age, like 12-year-old roughly. So they're making fun of his son. So what does Facebook do? They say, well, and it's an innocent thing. It's not even rude. They're calling him choco flan, which is a dessert.
Okay, like a pudding flan, but chocolate.
Yeah, like he had a hairstyle that had like some, like a little blonde streak in his hair.
Okay.
And this dessert flan is like, if you Googled flan, Flan.
I've had flan before, my friend.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, it's kind of got that texture, that yellowish tinge to it.
Okay.
So because his hair was like that, they were calling him choco flan, which is totally innocent.
Yeah.
But somebody in Mexico got butthurt about it. So Facebook's like, hey, we're gonna cave to this guy. We're gonna, not allow tax on his son. So that was the first indication. Like, okay, that's a little bit weird. They're kind of, bending over backwards for this guy.
So you're saying there's access. So someone who's left leaning, for example, that they had a way to get through to someone to say, hey, I don't like this. You guys, I want you to pull it down. I'm sure that the Trump the administration has the same access, but whether or not they have someone listening on the other end is the whole other story. But the fact that such a request is actually taken into consideration and then becomes reality is it's alarming. Obviously, anybody with money, anybody with power can just say, "Hey, I don't like what you did." It's like the National Enquirer all over again.
Yeah. Whoever's got those connections and we know that during the Obama administration, I mean, there was a revolving door between Facebook executives and the Obama administration. So, it definitely plays into that.
It's kind of a scary thing when you start to understand how powerful media is. But really, if you think about it, they still didn't win. So there's still a powerful, silent force of people out there. I still think no matter what, if someone came up to me and asked me what I think, I just remain quiet. I'm not going to say a word to anybody. I'm definitely not voting for Sleep Sofa Joe. So, but I wouldn't say anything about it. I would just let it go by, because it's such an inflammatory society we live in right now, where even if I create a funny face swap, people are offended. It's like, you know what? I'm trying to cut through all the negativity and do something funny, because this world is so silly right now.
Yeah.
You know? So it's a scary thing. But the fact, I don't know if you could see on the YouTube page, I made this little, I made a screen for you. I created this little screen, and on the top it says 2FacedBook. This is 2Faced.
Hang on the Facebook page. Oh yeah, 2Faced. Yeah, 2FacedBook, FakeBook. Oh, I see
there
it.
you go. And then I put 2FacedBook in the top of the little screen here, and then on the top it said "Speak Up," because you know what? I think we find, or I'm finding, in this day and age, people aren't speaking up anymore. Everyone's afraid to speak up because of someone getting offended. And you know what? This is America. I'm sorry. I was born in a country where I could speak my piece, and that should make me feel better. But I think people are miserable because they can't really speak. And you coming out and letting it out and saying, you know what, this is going on, and I'm alarmed. Now, you signed an NDA, so like there's a lot obviously you're concerned about. But when you see a wrong, you are trying to make a right out of that, and I love that. So sorry, keep going. I'm sorry. I'm just
no, I like that segue, because I mean that brings me to something that's something that's very innocent. We were talking about making fun of the Mexican president's son because of his hairdo, and it's something very innocent. Facebook's bending over backwards, right? But so at the same time, so you can't say that, but and at the same time, in the U.S., if I say, hey, keep Canadians out of the U.S., like okay, like I'm discussing immigration, right? But for Facebook, that's a violation of their hate speech policy, because I'm excluding them from coming in. Like, so it's just something. That's the problem. Is it shouldn't be complicated to know what's free speech and what's not.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, I studied the policy for 2 years. It's like being a paralegal. Like the wording in the policy is very, very complex. It's very, very nuanced. So how is average Joe U.S. citizen supposed to know what he's not going to spend an hour trying to research? Hey, is it okay to say this? Am I going to get deleted because I?
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
And so what's the threshold if someone does something that they consider offensive, where they say, okay, I'm gonna get rid of this piece of content, but if X amount of times goes by, I'm gonna ban this person from Facebook. And I'm sure it's happened a lot. They don't talk about it, and I know you can give us some horror stories of people who had huge accounts, like Silk. What's her name? There's two girls.
Diamond Silk. Yeah.
Diamond and Silk. They had 1.5 million subscribers. If correct me if I'm wrong, somewhere around there, and Facebook banned their page. Which honestly, I've seen their page before. It's positivity. They are very positive. And so when you have positive people being censored, this is where I have a problem. And I'm like, look, I want people like Ryan to be able to have a free form place to speak, because there's not enough of that going on. So back to you, brother.
Yeah. So I mean, the threshold, we get one job at a time. So we get one job on our screen. We can either ignore it, like allow it on the platform, or we can delete it. Or there's other things we can label, like if it's a cruel joke, like if you're making fun of like the Boston Marathon bombing with a beam, okay, that's not cool. So there's a way to limit it where it's not entirely deleted off the platform, but it is limited.
Interesting.
And yeah, the point, I've been asked this a lot. So I've been asked a lot, hey, what was the breaking point? When was enough? When did you say enough is enough? Yeah. And around May of 2019, like I kind of documented on my own 20 examples, or 19, I think technically, of bias. And I sent a letter to Congress, to a couple of people in Congress, and didn't hear back. Not that we're huge fans of. Congress is kind of a double-edged sword, because it's kind of like, well, we need good people in there, but when do they ever do anything, right?
That's true. That's true.
But I'm remaining optimistic, though. I think there's some Congress. I'm in talks with another congressman who might be doing some things, and so keep apprised of the news. I'll let you know if anything happens with that. But
yeah, please do. Especially what I noticed. I was going to play a clip here at some point of Ted Cruz. Did you see that one? Where there's this great clip. We'll play it at some point where he has this bright gentleman on him. I can't think of his name off the top of my head, and he's basically saying how they shifted votes during the last election on Google. Yeah. And he's like, the bottom is like 2.5. And Ted Cruz kept going, so let me get this straight. So 2.5 million votes have been shifted towards. He goes, no, let me correct you, Senator. 2.5 is the minimum. He's like, it's up to 12 point something million votes that they shifted to Hillary Clinton. It's a brilliant. We'll play it at some point, but I think Ted Cruz would be the guy you should call because he seems to have a thing out for Facebook.
Yeah, that must have been the Robert Epstein research you were talking to. Yeah,
that's it. Yeah, I mean, we may not have to play it, but I thought that'd be a cool talking point for us to segue into something if you think there's a talking point within that. So go ahead, continue on this.
So I think the breaking point for me was in the summer of 2018, there was this post that basically said, so there's this viral video going around in social media of this kid in Texas who was a Trump supporter. He has a MAGA hat. And he got assaulted by an adult inside of a restaurant. And so Facebook said, hey, this video is super trending. We know it's everywhere right now. We need you guys to delete this video. Okay, so you got a Trump supporter who's being victimized, and they're telling us to delete it. So they're saying to delete it because the adult was cursing at the minor. So it's kind of like a trivial thing. So it's like, okay. And there's some parts of the policy that would agree with that, but it's a little bit of a gray area because, like, the video is, they're cursing at the minor, but it's people are sharing a video. They're not cursing at the minor. They could be condemning the actions of the adult who, knocked off the kid's hat and attacked the kid. So, they flagged it as newsworthy. So they did this on countless various occasions where they would flag something as newsworthy and make an exception. And that's what really got to me is they're basically deciding, hey, if there's something really popular, we don't want this on our platform.
Newsworthy, if I can get this right, the definition for newsworthy in my mind would be influential. Yeah, influential. Anything influential that makes their party look bad, they're going to just get rid of. They're going to wipe away. Hey, we're seeing tons of people sharing this now because you know how this works. If they erase the core clip, it's gone everywhere, no matter how many times it's shared.
That's a really good question. I don't know exactly. I think I don't know if there's a way. I know when things spread viral like that, it's if you share it, I think it creates a new post. But
does it?
But I was just talking on Armored American Radio about how there's a way they can go in and filter things and send certain jobs to us. So if they want to find like posts related to guns, then they can flag that a certain way and dump those into our queue.
Interesting.
So there's a way for them to filter out what we actually moderate. So yeah, there is a way. Yeah. So the opposite example, which is the perfect stark contrast, is there was a right-wing senator named Fraser Anning, and he was very outspoken, in Australia, being right-wing. And anyways, there's a video of him being assaulted by a minor. So kind of the flip side. And then he responds by turning around and slapping the kid in the face a couple times, right?
Wow.
So kid eggs him, throws an egg on his head, on the back of his head. Right-wing senator from Australia turns around, slaps him in the face a couple times, right? So we have a policy against child abuse. And technically that's child abuse because it's repeated slapping of the
minor.
The minor. Yeah. And so Facebook said, hey, we're going to make an exception. We're going to allow child abuse on a platform for this,
because it was a Republican?
Yeah, because it's a Republican senator getting egged. They wanted to make sure people saw that Republican senator getting egged. So those are the links they'll go to. Yeah.
And that's the opposite of what you're saying. You're absolutely right. You have one where there's a conservative. Was it a conservative black guy you said that was wearing a MAGA hat and got beat up?
I think it was that was a white kid. Okay. I'm not sure
because I could see them be. Oh, we got to pull that off. That all of a sudden, where's the Black Lives Matter for that one? No, you'll never see anything flip to the other side of it. I have a buddy Phil. I'm hoping he pops on today. Phil has been killing it on all the fake news out there, and Phil is a conservative black man who sees it the way it really is, and he supports America. I don't understand people. What is going on, Ryan? I mean, why go backwards to a time when you were paying more in taxes, when you didn't have any control? There was more regulation than you could even think about. It's amazing. And everyone's like, let's go. And the guy is sleeping on camera. I can't even watch Sleep Sofa. That's why I'm making these Trump things. I can't watch Sleep Sofa Joe. But the bottom line is we're dealing with it. And I think the more people who step up, look, we have a short period of time before November. And if people aren't aware of what's going on, like I'm blown away by some of these videos I saw where people were flat out telling you, oh yeah, I see anything that has to do with Trump, I pull it down. Mm-hmm. And I said to a few of my followers last week, I said, it's kind of interesting. I never understood what shadow banning is. I've been live for 548 days in a row. Now, you would think if someone was live for 548 days in a row, they would be able to get out to more people. People would find the program that many days in a row. But I do Donald Trump every day. Most of my things say Donald Trump doing something. And I find that there's no organic reach, first of all. Even on my pages, I got some 3,000 followers. Those people aren't even seeing it. I think, are they directing my content away from people because... Is that shadow banning a real thing? Is it a marketing ploy? Like, can you tell us a little about that? Yeah, and this is something I touched on earlier today with someone else. But it's the shadow banning. It's hard to find. I did not find direct evidence. Now I saw signs of it, and it's something that everyone assumes. I'm not a Facebook engineer, so I didn't have access to the algorithm. I see. Like I know there's a Pinterest whistleblower who now works for Project Veritas, who was an engineer who had access to those algorithms. Interesting. So I know that the guy I was just on with at Armed American Radio, Mark Walters, he had the same thing happen to him. He has 90,000, roughly 100,000 organic followers, never paid for a single advertisement. And then slowly those numbers are just trickling down. Like he loses 10 a day, 12 a day. Wow. And there's no reason for it. So I told him, I saw what I've witnessed is in Mexico with that same presidential election I was working on in 2018. All the pro-leftist dictators groups had like 100,000 followers, and then the ones who were against them, they all had like 10,000 maybe. So, I know he's a popular guy. So either he's really good at running social media campaigns, or there's something else going on. Yeah. And since we already know they were protecting his son, maybe they were doing some other things on the side. But yeah, as to your specific situation, it's tough. It's tough to. I've started thinking about maybe just dropping the name Trump and everything, and just be like, funny face swap today, and just like see if we get more organic reach over time. But I've been relying on Bulldag and people out there that are finding the show and then spreading the word. I think that's how things work anyway. It's got to be grassroots, because most times what I've found is a long form doesn't work. People don't have the attention span, and we do between like 2 and 5 hours a day for 548 days. That's a lot of content. So we're just cataloging, so someone go back one day and see it, but tomorrow there's another 4-hour show, Ryan. You know what I mean? So you do 4 hours a day? Sometimes. So sometimes an hour and a half. Like yesterday was an hour and a half. It depends on how people are feeling, but I've done 200 plus face swaps, so I could sit here and do like 3 hours of face swaps like if I wanted to. And that's just, again, I think I'm just trying to cut through all the cheese. There's so much negativity out there. So, but I wanted you to know something just to keep this in mind. Yeah. Let it all out here, but bottom line, if we don't get through everything here today, you have the Zoom number. This is your backdrop, brother. Okay. So if you ever want to call back in and you want to say something else, or something else came up and you just want to get it off your chest, we're live every day. So you always have a platform here to just express yourself. Just keep that in mind. And back to you. So before we go into the whole, the first day putting a camera on. All right. So it was, obviously there's some things wait, before you do this, let me show you, because you sent this to me. I want to set this up. So this right here is how you got in trouble this is before you put the camera on. Oh yeah. Is this where they found out that you were conservative, or like what did this do for you exactly, and where did this put you as far as in the room? Probably in a corner, but yeah. So I was already filming at this point, and it just happened by accident. It actually turned out to be part of the story. Okay. So back in 2015, this is such a random coincidence. So January of this year, right? I'm at work. We're having the most off-the-wall conversations you can imagine. Like, you literally asking your coworker, like, "Hey, like, is this implied nudity or penetration, or like, is this double print?" Like, you're looking at nudity, pornography, trying to determine if it's going to be taken off the platform. And we actually go in the nitty-gritty, like, oh, is that a bulge, or is that an actual erection? Like these are the kind of just weird conversations we're having. Mm-hmm. So it's there's a lot of things that are allowed to talk. It seems like a safe space to even talk about anything, because you're talking about all this stuff freely. You think you could talk about anything else? Makes sense.
So I think we were talking about religion or something, and so I shared a link to a coworker. I shared that exact link, the one I gave you, to the, and let me pull up my, So, anyways, I shared that exact link, and it just basically shows me on the cover of LA Times, and I'm holding a sign. This was 4 months after the Charlie Hebdo terrorist attack, where Islamic extremists murdered cartoonists simply because they were drawing pictures of Muhammad and mocking the Islamic religion. So I shared that link to this coworker, and 5 years ago, he was at the same protest, but he was the counter protest. So I was there. Yeah. So obviously he hated my guts, right? Because of that.
He's like, that was you. You're the guy. I remember that.
Yeah.
That is.
And it was like a really calm rally. Like I was there, open carrying, and this is Arizona, of course, we're talking about. And it was a freedom of speech rally. So HR was like, so he went all the way to the top. He went to like HR compliance.
Wow.
So 3 weeks after he reported that, so this is now like mid to late January, I get pulled in. I didn't know what was going on at all. And you hear me in the video because I'm like, I'm like kind of taken aback and like worried. I'm like, is this about the post I shared, like the link I shared? Because that was the only thing I could possibly think of. But yeah, so the fact that I'm holding a sign, I think it's just so ironic because I got in trouble for holding a sign from cartoonists that cartoonists drew, Charlie Hebdo, who were murdered. And I'm holding this sign. I'm basically a standing memorial, living memorial for them. And then I get in trouble from HR because they told me I was advocating violence, and what I shared was discriminatory in nature. And then they backpedaled on that because I wrote a pretty strong letter to them explaining my position.
Well, it's amazing. It sounds like they're anti-American to me. Like I feel like a lot of what I'm hearing about the way Facebook runs is they are anti-American. They don't want to hire American. Like they didn't hire you for 2 jobs that you should have gotten. I don't know if you want to share anything about that, but I heard that in one of the clips as well, that you were more than qualified to get both of those jobs. And you didn't because you were white, maybe conservative, but definitely because you were white. Right. And then I heard a very interesting thing. Someone said, well, anybody else could have sued, but because you're white, you can't sue. And she said, nobody has the white man's back anymore. It made me think about all this whole white privilege stuff that everyone's talking about. Say, well, now it's gone the complete opposite, where there's so many rights for every other minority, and that it's like it doesn't really make sense. The way I got into this the other day, the privilege thing is, it doesn't matter your skin color; it's who you know. You could be green if you have a good friend who knows somebody on Fox News or whatever. You're on there the next day telling your story. So that's the only privilege I think that exists as far as I'm concerned. But anyway, So that's very interesting. So you see them on Facebook. Obviously, they're making all these unilateral moves, and they're trying to keep it from the public. Zuckerberg came out and said there is no bias.
Right.
That's the big problem here, right? I mean, on the outside, I haven't heard anything from the government yet, but I think that could be something like he could really have a big problem with going forward, especially if the documents are true that I'm seeing, all the stuff that's coming out through Project Veritas. Yeah.
No, I think it's going to be a big problem. I think hopefully we'll see something in the next couple of days. I'll let you know if something comes out from a congressman that I'm communicating with, because if my firsthand account contradicts what he's saying, either he's clueless as to what's going on in his company, or I don't know, we have to ask the question, did he lie to Congress? And that's a very important question to ask. And then a lot of people I've been seeing in the comments are like, on Twitter and whatnot, like, well, it's, we know it's happening. It's happened before, but they're just going to get away with it. But I think,
I feel like
the
last time they actually fined them, right? Like the first time through, they got away with it. Last time they got fined. So third time's like, fool me once, fool me. That whole George Bush said it a little weird, but by the time you get to the third one, there's a good chance that they're going to do a little bit more. I think they need to make an example out of him.
Yeah. Well, even if you're left wing, doesn't matter if you're a Republican or a Trump supporter. Like, imagine 10 years from now, the roles could be reversed.
Yeah.
Like this. It could be the opposite. It could be the left being censored. Like, we want it to be impartial as possible. But
Well, they've destroyed freedom of speech as we know it. We live in a country where we believe we have free speech, but to know that there's somebody on the outside who's monitoring and cherry picking the stuff that makes them look bad, that makes Sleep Sofa Joe look bad. And look, he's doing a great job making himself look bad. We don't need to help him. I'm helping, but he doesn't have to, but you see something that could really impact a voter, i.e. someone who's a conservative getting beat up for just holding a flag. I saw this amazing one. This guy's holding the American flag, walking through Choppy. What are they calling it? I don't even know. Walking through, right? He's silent. Ryan, he's silent. He's walking with the American flag, just a proud American. And some lady, some animal, comes over and starts ripping the flag out of his hands. And a couple of the protesters saying, no, let him, he's protesting, let him. And she, I don't give a damn, I don't care. And she's ripping the thing. And I'm saying, is this what country we live in? That's just like treason. These people are animals. They don't appreciate this country we live in. And I don't understand it. And I don't know. I could go for hours about the craziness of this world, brother. You're feeding the fire, is all I'm saying. You're feeding the fire.
Well, no, it plays well into the whole racism thing right now, and I'm trying to get on a few other shows with it. And I think I want to get on with the Hodge twins, Steven Crowder.
Love those
guys. And they're all covering the riots right now, and this plays perfectly well into it, because it's like, hey, I saw a sign the other day outside a window of one of my neighbors at my neighbor's house, and it said, suffocate racism, and so, in what my video portrays that fairly well. Now, as far as the filming of the footage, you were mentioning like Mission Impossible. Yeah. Real quick, let me mention. Okay, did you ever watch Demolition Man from the '90s with Sylvester?
Yeah, with what's his name, Wesley Snipes and
Wesley Snipes and Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah, I remember that.
So we should put a little like intro on that, or maybe we can splice some video of that into it.
Well, you know what? I wish I had it. I wish I pulled that up. We could have thrown that in.
Yeah, you can put me like I'll be the little computer in the background that like spits out that $5 ticket every time they cuss, right? Because that's what's happening now on Facebook. Like people are getting censored all the time.
That's right. And they bring the little plates with like there's like a pill or something, right? Or something weird. And then he comes breaking through the glass and he takes all their money or whatever. I remember that. Demolition Man. That's right. And then they bring him out of cryogenic, frozen. He's frozen cryogenically, I think, if I recall. It was a long time ago. We got to pull it up here. We should watch that one.
We should watch it.
We should screen it here on Real Talk. We're on for 98 hours in a row anyway, Ryan. What the heck? Right? We might as well keep going with it. I just want to say hello to a couple people that are on Daggers over here. Transparent Media Truth. Appreciate you. Denise, of course. And we're just getting going here about some stuff. I'm going to be quiet and let Ryan go. So, and then I got some questions here to get to later, but they're all just kind of user questions. People wanted to know a few things that we'll get to. So where were we?
So we're a Mission Impossible. So, there's it's a little bit of So when I first started wearing the camera, so I have to be careful what I say, because they don't like their methods to be revealed. But it's a lost art. I think it's undercover journalism, and. I had the camera, I strapped it on. My wife didn't know that I was filming for the first couple months. But you get really paranoid, man, when you're filming.
I know.
You got your camera on and you think, oh, well, everyone can see it, or everyone knows that I'm recording them.
And then your questions,
people are clueless. Yeah.
You're sweating because you're asking questions like, so what do you think about all the stuff we're pulling? Yeah, man, I hate it. Yeah, keep going. What do you mean? What do you want me to keep going for? Just go. Just keep going. I'm filming the whole thing. Don't worry about it. I'll tell you later. So that's the freaky part. I keep wondering, you have like the stress, and then your voice is at a little bit, you know what I mean? And you're asking questions. So you walk in there, you got the camera, and you're strapped up, you're ready to go. And then when do you feel like, because this is not something I've never done, do you feel like you have a specific amount of questions you need to ask? You need to get certain stuff out of them? Are you like, okay, I got enough, I'm done, I'm like leaving now? Like, how did it go? Walk us through a little bit of that.
Yeah, so, and it's weird too, because on the floor, we can't even have cell phones. Like, if you have a cell phone on the floor, it's an instant termination.
Are you serious? Wow.
Yeah, it's super strict. But as far as when do we decide when to not, how long let's see. I mean, there's some days where I would film all day, or I would film just a couple hours maybe, and I try to plan conversations with people. And towards the end, it was nice because we as of December of this last year, they told us, hey, project's ending, right? The project's going to end in 3 months, in 2 months or whatever. So everyone's kind of kicking back anyways. They're kind of like, hey, they're doing enough work to make sure they get their retention bonus or whatever, get their payout at the end. But people are a little more relaxed, not as tense. So they're more likely to talk to me, and there was more downtime, I guess. But yeah, it was, sometimes there are certain people I try to talk to a lot. I know that we're pretty opinionated, like the guy named Israel, the guy who was saying, Trump supporters are just a bunch of
the guy who talked about the impeachment and that
effing rednecks,
and that people should be more offended by Trump calling it a coup. Like, what is this guy? This is the thing, the stuff that comes out of these people, out of their mouths. You know what I mean? Now, if you had 10 people in a room, how many of them were you like, I could have a conversation with that guy without having him jump down my throat?
There was quite a few who were pretty like balanced, and like the viewpoints weren't as extreme. But that's the thing, is like, we wanted to expose this because these people, they're monitoring our elections, for goodness sakes. I mean, there should be like a fishbowl. I like the fishbowl analogy. So I worked as a long time ago. I worked at a Santa Claus set. Like, I was Santa Claus's manager at the mall, right?
No
way, when you go
awesome.
get your pictures taken. Yeah, and so that's the analogy. When I got training for that, they said use the fishbowl analogy. Imagine everyone's always looking at you, and that's what the moderators should have. They should always be people. We should always be seeing what they're doing, because they're influencing public discourse.
Yeah.
And so, like, people got mad at me. Coworkers got mad at me since the video release, because they're like, hey, Cassie Simo, the one who was calling for a bounty on Trump's head, the 80 million, she's getting death threats, or so I've been told. And look, I don't wish death threats on anybody, but like you said it, like, not me. Like, you said it.
Have some accountability, right? Yeah. You reporting the truth, somebody else doing something wrong, and finally being held accountable for their actions. Hello, this is the world. Everybody wants to do things and then not be held accountable, and then you come along and say, sorry, we got you on camera doing that. And unfortunately, it is what it is. But this is where I say the idea of the violence. There's something else I saw where you were explaining that Trump piece of artwork, he had his throat cut. They say like F Trump or something like that. And then you're like, and then they let this other thing go through. I'm like, why? Like, how does this even make sense? Or they took the other thing down, but then that one gets to go through. When to me, that's like extreme violence right there. I mean, let's show a president murdered, and we'll allow that. It's just
and it's once again, the policy is so nuanced. So they would say, oh well, since it's real world art, since it was drawn by hand, then that's why. But in the other one with Beto O'Rourke, it was his real face photoshopped. Okay, well, someone still created that, so how is that not real world art? So
the same thing. It's art. You're right.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. And that one wasn't as offensive as far as I'm looking at it. I'm seeing like a murdered person or like a cartoon pretending to take a gun and saying, "Oh, not in my world," whatever it was. Like you said, there's no distinction, or it's very clear distinction. Anything at all that makes him look bad or makes the Republican Party look bad, we're gonna push. And we'll be influential with that. To your point, they are just pushing votes in order to try to steal this away.
Yeah.
And this is all connected. You're right. You should be on with the Hodge twins. You should be on with anybody talking about this George Floyd ridiculousness. A month before that, Breonna Taylor was murdered. And she was a model citizen. And I think she was like an award-winning EMT, something like this. And nobody cares. 2019, this guy's in Las Vegas, black man riding his bike without a helmet, bicycle. They murdered him. 12 people showed up to his protest. 12. And now we got a 5-time criminal who was horribly murdered. Never should have happened. Everybody in the world says it never should have happened. And they've created a movement because ding, 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 coronavirus started to be like, well, people want to go back to work. And everything's about pushing the agenda forward, because what are we trying to do? Distract everybody from the point that their candidate is a mental case. And we need to keep people focused on all the fear monger until November 2nd. And then we're like, look, everything's fine. Go out and vote tomorrow. Or better yet, we're going to let you mail in vote. And my Uncle Sammy, who passed away in 1937, will get his vote for Sleepy Joe Biden as well. So it's all connected to what you did here. And I think you're going to see the phone ring and people wanting you to get onto those programs to tie the two together. Yeah. And I almost think it would be cool to have you on with Marianne. Marianne's going to be coming on Friday. I don't know if you got anything planned Friday, but Marianne's coming on Friday. And she is the one who broke a lot of the George Floyd stuff. Also the condemic stuff, all the stuff that's going on. So I don't know if there's ever a point where you guys chat about things here on the show. That's an option too. But anyway, so keep rolling with this idea. So basically, we're both pissed off at Facebook. I always say that Facebook sucks. I always try to do a Zuckerberg impression, and I say that it sucks. He kind of has this weird voice. I did one impression of him here. I'll play it for you later.
Oh, okay. I'll have to work on my Zuckerberg impression.
Yeah, because
he's probably pissed at me right now. He's probably pretty pissed.
I'm sure he is. Well, do you have anything to do with all of the advertisers that are leaving? Does that have anything to do with it?
No, I think it's funny because no, I saw that article about the advertising, but isn't it the left? Aren't they leaving because Facebook's not doing enough to stop hate speech?
You know what? I think you may be right. I was just curious. Yeah. I saw that some crazy amount of money that he lost in a day because these advertisers were leaving. And, I think this is a good point. He may be trying to toe the line of like down the middle right now because he knows he's about to have the hammer dropped on his head, right? Yeah. I mean, he really lied. And now he's got to pretend that he didn't know. And when you are the CEO of a company that goes on in front of the government and you say things like, look, we aren't biased and we try to we remain down the middle, then that becomes the law for your company. You run the company. So the fact that all these videos of people saying, oh, yeah, whatever. If it says MAGA, I rip it down. If it says Trump, I rip it down. And it doesn't even have to be anything offensive. They just rip it down because they don't want to generate positivity for something. And that's just very scary.
Well, yeah, another great example. I don't know if we mentioned this earlier, but so if I call someone a Trump humper, so if I call Mark, if I'm on Facebook and I say Mark's a Trump humper, right? Okay, that can be construed as offensive, like you're attacking my character. So Facebook said, hey, this is political speech. It's just an exaggeration of speech. So if I say take Trump's dick out of your mouth, I mean I can say it for both candidates, but the specific phrase Trump humper is allowed. So even if you report it, Mark, it stays on the platform. Now, if I were to call you a feminazi, guess what? It gets taken down. It gets deleted. So
now, do they do that by audio? Is it audio? Are they able to reach in, or is it just by what they see?
We can do audio as well. So if there's a video, we watch. There's guidelines as to how much of the video we watch. But yeah, if I post a video and I'm calling you Mark Pyers a Trump humper or a feminazi, one of them will get deleted. One of them will not.
Interesting.
I wonder why. Yeah.
Oh, of course. Anything that's and here's the thing: let it all out. Let it all out. Because and this is something I came up with when I was maybe 19 years old, when I think Windows 95 was out. Whatever, what I mean? Like we were kids, right? And I remember I wrote this down, and I don't know if this is exactly right, but I said, social media, it wasn't social media at the time, I said the internet is the greatest invention in the history of time and the fall of our civilization. And it was before the internet became something. It was just being able to do little stuff. And I remember thinking, I could see the future. I said, it's going to be the greatest invention ever and the fall of our civilization. We do not know how to act civilized anymore. Yeah. We're children. We're all children anyway, but the fact that we're acting like children throughout our lives, and maybe it's because this is so new to everybody, the social media, the way we have these phones in our faces. We are literally adolescents with technology, and we're trying to figure out how to navigate our lives with it, and we are miserable more times than we are happy because of a 5.6-inch screen. And somebody, this is one I just segue in very quickly. This came from Rob. Rob had a really great question, a few of them over on Twitter. He said, Jaron Lanier. He wanted to know if you had any impressions of the original programmer of social media. He said he's a rock star in that world, and he's been telling people to dump it for years because he calls it techno crack. And I was joking the other day that we had this. I have 3 kids, and 2 of them are connected to tech because they're 9 and 10 years old, going on 11 and 12. And my daughter's 5. And I'm like, I don't want her to even get into this. So we're doing a tech-free summer, like we no tech summer. Yeah. And Rob goes, good luck with that. Yeah, good luck with that. He's right. It's almost impossible to tech free. It's impossible. But he wanted to know what your thoughts were of Lanier, and I don't know. Just figured if you had anything to say about him.
What's his? How do you spell his last name?
Jaron Lanier, Lanier. I guess he was one of the original guys who programmed social media. I don't know what that means. If that means like chat, because remember it used to be chats, right?
Yeah.
You'd go to a chat and you'd be like on a chat with people, and then eventually we got to actual like Facebook and MySpace, which I think MySpace I think still exists. I don't know. I haven't been on it in 38 years.
That's a good question.
But so Sig is on. Sig just said he shared your pages and a bunch of your tweets over on his Twitter page. Sig is awesome. He's been kicking out here the last few days as well. Big supporter of the show. And look, what I'm finding, Ryan, is we got a lot of people who want the truth, and they love you because you are someone who's out there, championing the truth, and you're getting in the way of the bullets. You really are. You're getting in the way of the fire in order for other people to go out there and continue this fight. It's a fight, right?
Yeah.
I mean, this is a huge fight, and it's the most important fight of our lives. It's our liberty. It's the justice of our freedom, and the freedom to be able to breathe. Like fully, let your soul breathe. You can't do that on Facebook's platform. So sorry, let's keep rolling.
No, you're fine. Yeah. So it's let's see, where was I going?
Well, so I was just saying that this is the downfall of our society. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So because as to Sig's question about, I just Googled, hit that guy's name, Jaron Lanier. So. Yeah, I mean, is Facebook evil? And it's the thing I was going to bring up is that it's that line between, okay, what's civil discourse and what's freedom of speech? And, I wish there was a way to just, if you didn't like something was saying, like instead of reporting their what they said and them getting blocked and not being able to talk to their family for a month or their friends for a month, like we have to understand that moderating content is subjective. Like what I did, as much as they spelled out objectively, and it's nice to have it written out, it's very complex, but it's going to be a subjective. I mean, we're humans. So one of my solutions that I'm writing an op-ed about, one of my solutions is to have a sliding scale. So if I don't agree with something, or if I, as a content moderator, if I see a post and I think it's offensive, there'll be a sliding scale on one end, least offensive, or on the other end, most offensive. So like now, just embrace the subjectivity. I mean, we're humans. We're not going to get it right all the time. But we should err on allowing more freedom of speech. But as we mentioned earlier, like even saying, "Okay, keep Canadians out of the United States," that's violating. Now, Jaron Lanier, as far as I'm kind of dodging your question, let me try to answer it as best as I can. Yeah, I think there's a lot more negatives to social media. And you're mentioning you're doing a tech-free summer.
I'm trying at least.
Yeah. So my sister-in-law, she's doing the same thing with her kids, and they have like a 4-year-old, and she loves to, she has tons of energy. But yeah, nowadays, even from a young age, like 2 years old, we're plopping them in front of the couch with their little screen, and it's easier. It's
easy for us,
maybe easy for parents. But yeah, I think social media. Looking at Jaron Lanier, I think there's a lot more negatives to it. I mean, I grew up I graduated high school in 2005, so I still had some of that growing up period where I didn't have a cell phone.
Yeah.
But the people growing up now, I feel sorry for them because they didn't experience life how it was. I mean, imagine back in the 90s when you had to actually coordinate times. Hey, we're going to meet here at such and such time.
I still remember. I still remember going to use a phone at the mobile. I called my friends there, and we had beepers. Remember that? We had beepers, and the girl you were dating, she'd go, 143. You love me? Really? And that was what I remember. But what's crazy about it is, the technology changes, but we are still the same people, but now we don't remember what it was like to be free. And that's, I think, what's interesting. Like, even for us, if you think about it, having the phone at all, we didn't understand the freedom of, like, just mail coming in the mailbox. Like, that was a thing before us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When people are at home, like, trying to figure there's no electricity or whatever. Then you had electricity, but they're still, like, reading books. You're going to sleep when the candle goes out that night. You getting a piece of mail? Oh, look, Tommy, we got a piece of mail. And then all of a sudden, you got phones, and then you got moved forward. And so, we had a little bit more of the opportunity to see what life was like before. And I'm the worst. Like I say, I yell at my kids about it, but I'm the worst, brother. Like, I'm putting out a piece of content. I'm editing something. I'm a real estate agent, so I'm trying to find a new piece of business or calling someone or working on an inspection report or whatever. Yeah. And so the phone is always in my hand. And then we start realizing our children do what they see. And so it's my fault. I know that. I'm not trying to not take blame. I'll absolutely take responsibility. But I got to cut that thing off before they think they need it, Yeah. Like.
And speaking of mail, just a quick plug. So I actually set up a PO box. So if you want to help me out, there's a GoFundMe. GoFundMe.com.
I was just about to type that in. Yeah, guys, GoFundMe.com/F/Facebook Insider. I'm going to type it in here right now, so you guys can support what Ryan's doing, because bottom line, he put himself on the line for us in order to get the word out. And so if you guys can show your love, it'd be very much appreciated.
And there's also PayPal, there's Venmo. So if you want to pay via PayPal and Venmo, I'm trying to get a Coinbase set up, like cryptocurrency.
That'd be a good idea.
Like Bitcoin. And I couldn't figure out how to
I don't know how that works, but that would be a great idea. The other thing I wanted to bring up very quickly, see if I could show this off, guys. I'm pretty excited for you. Just about 7 days ago, you released a book.
Yeah, so I released an ebook, and it's called 30 Jobs in 30 Years, a Millennial's Guide to the 21st Century, and it's on sale for $6.50 on Amazon. Now, if you share my tweets a lot and like me a lot, I'll even give you a free copy. So I've done that for a couple of people so far.
That's awesome.
But yeah, it's 227 pages. I go into talks about my upbringing, some of my training I've done as a security guard. It talks about all the jobs I've had, obviously. So yeah, it's a great book. It's funny because I got a message on Facebook this morning, earlier today. Someone was just like, it was a hate mail from a coworker, and
wow,
he was saying I can't believe I worked with your racist ass. I'll never forget the time you did not believe I worked there and asked to see my badge. Because I used to work security, so I was kind of like a hard ass. And it's funny because my nickname at work was actually the hall monitor. And so
the hall monitor. That's what I call Sleep Sofa Joe. I call Joe Biden. I say he's running for hall monitor. That's so funny.
So, their nickname came back to bite them, I guess, because I monitored a lot more than just the hall.
Yeah, you sure did.
Anyways, this guy was like attacking me, and then he said, "How embarrassing! You're asking people to send you money during your time of unemployment." Because I just quit my job yesterday, because just because this has been so nuts. I've been doing media appearances all day.
You should.
And then he's like effing work for it, you lazy bum.
Oh my god.
So in my book, I've had like more than 30 jobs. Like, during college, I worked odd jobs. So that's definitely not lazy.
I'm glad. So how long did it take you to write it? I've been writing mine. I'm just curious how long it took you.
So I took some things I'd written before. I took some yearly newsletters I'd written before. So not all of it was written, at the same time. So that kind of helped me a little bit. And I included some things from like college, like some essays. So it would have taken a lot longer. I started compiling it probably in February. And so it took me like probably 3 months to get everything compiled and edited.
Though. Yeah, that's great. When the quarantine came around, I was like, well, what am I going to do? I start writing the Real Talk book. And so I have the title, and I've got like 13,000 words, I think.
It's a good start.
That's a good start, right? But then I haven't done anything in the last 3-4 weeks, so I got to get back to it, like one of these nights. But we've been doing such late shows lately that I just don't have anything left in the gas tank, if you know what I mean. Yeah. So anyway, I wanted to get back. Transparent Media Truth. Rob over here said exactly about getting sans mobiles. Kids today are unable to fathom what it's like to be without tech. And then he said that our parents and grandparents were talking about this, the uphill to school in the snow, both ways, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so it used to be a different world. we're going to have different stories now. Oh, I remember the day when you used to use a rotary phone or whatever. You know what I mean? Like have you ever seen, there's a video of these two kids and the father's like, here, okay, I'll give you $10. You have to make a phone call. And these two like 17-year-old kids are mental. They can't figure out how to use the rotary phone. And you're like, well, maybe we push this. And then it's just completely nuts.
Yeah.
Okay, Sig said he just donated, that you're over 34K. That's awesome. So, you know, this is the thing. When you put yourself out there, you got to ride the wave right now. You got to take the momentum while it's there. And hopefully you hit a bunch of shows and people like Sig will throw a few dollars at you to help you keep your cause going. Because the longer you're out there speaking, the more platforms you reach, the better the chance that some of these words are going to get out there. Right now, they're censoring. I have a feeling they take down my Facebook platform for this. I have 2 different shows running on my profile and over on the Real Talk page. I guarantee you, just based on the title, 2FacedBook. Yeah, they're two-faced. It's the 2FacedBook. FakeBook whistleblower. So bottom line, I call it FakeBook. I'm sure a lot of people call it that. And it's, if you can't be neutral, you're fake. You're fake news. And that's why we are lighting up the world with positivity. All these people over here. And Ryan just caught on here, guys. You guys, we're all chatting. If you have any questions, Ryan's on with you, and he can answer them directly.
Feel free. Yeah.
And also one more thing. This was, I believe, this came from Rob as well. He wanted to know if you have any knowledge of chatbots, fake accounts, and how prolific they are, and if they're being used to kind of push along political candidates.
So that's a really good question. So there's a lot of, some of my coworkers noticed like bots, but they would report posts. So I'd always get the same like Asian guy or from with kind of like stock photo, like reporting posts. Mm-hmm. So we thought that we were, hypothesizing that there were like bots that were reporting, which report everything. So maybe there's an algorithm where, they're reporting everything related to guns or related to a certain topic. But so it looks like it gets reported by an actual person, but it's actually a bot. So it's very possible.
Interesting. Now you said something real quickly. I don't want to take you too much off this, but you said something earlier that kind of struck me. You said that they can limit content. So you may think the world sees it. You shared it to everybody, but they've turned it off to X, Y, and Z people, and you only are getting to your parents or whatever, right? They have that ability, and you're seeing it. You're thinking it's out there, but it's really just targeted to nothing.
Yeah. So if you see if you're ever on Instagram, you see those like meme pages where it's all just like super inappropriate memes, whether they're sexual or whether they're, so those would be marked as cruel. So this is under the policy called cruel and insensitive.
Okay.
So, the extreme example is, making fun of the Boston Marathon bomber, or like a meme related to the Boston Marathon bombing. So, but on the more lighthearted note, there's other things. So if you're making fun of, race, gender. So if you have a more of a political joke that could have an image of a Muslim person, like the hate speech policy, even if it's just imagery of someone who's wearing, religion, clothing associated with a religion, that would still qualify as hate speech. So if there's something that's insensitive or just, basically implying that all Muslims are terrorists, which of course is not always a fair generalization, because and that's the funny thing too, is like people are calling me racist, and like I had Muslim friends at Arizona State University. I've been inside the mosque with friends. So, going back to the cruel and sensitive. So if you're mocking something and making a joke about it, they would limit. They would limit. How many people view that. I don't really see the end impact of that, but I would mark it as cruel, and depending on how bad it is, if it's really, really bad and it shows the image of a real person and you're mocking them, then it could be a delete. So if there's an actual image of a victim from the Boston Marathon bomb, then that would be a full delete. But even just a joke, even if it's not even like an image or a meme, just like a few words making a joke about something, even if it's sarcastic, that could be limited. But yeah.
I did notice Instagram specifically. I think it was because I was posting so many. It was live so many days in a row, and I'd post all. There were a few weeks on Instagram. I thought if I just post more, I'll get to more people. Like I didn't know I was just starting, so I did I think 7 or 8 posts a day of content, like real good content. I do a quote and then I do a post, right? And I noticed I'd use a lot of the same hashtags, and my views went from and all of a sudden plummeted. And I noticed I took time off of Instagram. I was like, screw Instagram, not really seeing any growth, like organic growth at all. And I left. I think I got a couple 2,000-ish followers, somewhere around there. I walked away for a while. Just recently went back, put a couple of my Donald Trump face swaps up. 800 views, 600 views. I'm like, yep, totally. I was shadow banned or whatever because I was getting 20 or 30 views for great content. So they were limiting my views because of overuse or whatever it is. And so it is a real thing. I don't know if it's a algorithm that kicks in and says, all right, we got to curb this guy or whatever. But there's definitely something going on behind the scenes. And this actually becomes a bigger question that is not to do with censorship necessarily, but maybe, or maybe it's tied in. When Facebook purchased Instagram and Facebook in general, I believe, I have this clip I wanted to share with you. Maybe I should show it to you now. It's only a minute long, but it's just a funny, stupid thing I did a while back. Because do you remember when Elon Musk went after Mark Zuckerberg? This is maybe
so vaguely. Yeah.
This is maybe like 3-4 months ago. Elon Musk came out and said that Facebook sucks. Okay, that's what he came out and said, and this is what I did that night.
Elon, it's Mark Zuckerberg.
Hi, Mark Zuckerberg.
What is this you're saying about Facebook?
It's crap. It's absolute crap.
What have you created besides everything? You didn't create a social media network.
I'm thinking about making Tesla Book. People can go there and they can optimize their social media experience. Because Facebook is crap.
You can't say that Facebook isn't the greatest platform ever. We have ads and we have social media. And people like to go on Facebook.
Have you seen the platform? Tesla Book? Working on it.
You're making it look really bad for me out there. And I don't like that.
The payoff is coming, trust me.
You don't mess with the Zucks.
Well, I guess I just have to say that your platform sucks.
That's it. I guess I just have to say that your platform sucks. Now, my wife goes, that's not what he sounds like, but I think he sounds exactly like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
He's got that weird voice where every once in a while I'm like, hi, it's Mark Zuckerberg. I just don't know. He's like, it's either that or Andy Dick. Is a little bit of both. I can't tell. But so that was just a goofy thing. But I see Facebook, they have two things. They have ads and they have social media. Like what do they provide? They don't provide news because they take all the real news down. But they have ads. And this gets back to the question I was going to ask you. When they purchased Instagram and they decided to try to take over, monopolize this form being Facebook and Instagram, they completely squashed organic growth. Would you agree that they decided to say you either buy ads or you sit there and you get nowhere? Do you think that's the formula basically at Facebook? Like, hey, we have to sell people ads or else we're just not, they'll buy ads eventually. They'll just realize they're not getting anywhere until eventually they have to buy ads.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like, you know, the influencers you see, you know, majority of the people on Instagram, which half of which are like, you know, half naked girls, right? They're all using, I mean, it seems like most of them are just, they have money. Like they're the people that just have money. Hey, daddy bought me some likes on Instagram so I can be an influencer. Hey, I've got a couple 100,000 followers and I pose in my bikini on Instagram. Like that's all it is. That's all it's become. Yeah, organic growth is just hard to come by, I think, on any platform now. Because you can pay for likes, you can pay for follows. Yeah. I know the founders, Instagram's founders, they resigned once they sold it to Facebook. They resigned because of privacy issues. They disagreed entirely with how Instagram was handling privacy.
Under Facebook's watch.
Yeah. So they sold it over. Yeah, I think they were on the board for a little while, and then they resigned because they didn't like how he was handling privacy.
Wow. They took a cool bill? They took a bill, right? $1 billion, I believe.
Probably. I'm actually
that was the beginning. I think that was, now everybody's like $100 billion, you know, but they got a bill. I'm pretty sure they got a bill. At the time, they probably should have held out a little bit longer. And do you remember when they were questioning him on? He's there. They're like, well, who's your competition? He's like, he's got no competition. They're like,
no,
what about Instagram? He's like, well, we bought them. Like, yeah, you bought everybody, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, they got to step in. Like, that's the next move, right? The government's got to step in, and they have to break up the monopoly. It's the only way. They have to have like an SEC, like where they, you know what I mean? Someone's got to be sitting in there that's not controlled by Zucks, because he's Zucks. I was being freaking honest.
No, that's what I told. I was on the radio with Breitbart News, Sirius XM on Thursday night, and that's what I told them. They're like, "Hey, what's the solution?" And I'm like, and at this point, we got to look at the Communications Decency Act, because the Communications Decency Act was passed in 1996 because they wanted to prevent harmful content getting to minors, like pornography. And well, it's so much for that, right? Like, pretty much throw that out the window. Yeah. So what is that law? What is that bill? What does that do for us? It doesn't do anything for us. They've taken advantage of it. Facebook's taken advantage of it. Now they can use it to say they're a platform while blatantly censoring conservatives' content. So yeah, they should be forced to. You're right. They're a monopoly. They're like the railroad companies from late 1800s,
right? Yeah. And the thing is when you start acting like your own country, that's when it's a problem, and that's when becomes a complete monopoly. And I want to share something with you. This is something that Veritas just dropped, I think, and I found this when we were just preparing. I was like, let me throw this on. We'll see what you think of this. Just let me know. You probably saw this clip already, but let's get at it. Here we go.
Sure.
Thank you to each of the witnesses.
That's not it. Hold on a second. Where did we put it? Is it this one? No. Oops. Now, here it is.
Hello, everyone. We have breaking news. This was the Facebook memo story. The memo that Facebook said was not real, not authentic. Well,
I want you guys to see this. Check this out. And
just
then
now, we learned Facebook's IR division, that's investigations and reports part of the company, has pulled at least 8 employees, Facebook employees, into their offices to discuss this memo and its origins. In fact, we've learned from multiple sources inside the company that they even identified the name of the employee who wrote this document. This document, in fact, does exist on one of their computers. That's new information that we are able to report to you here. This is a developing story. We're working with a number of sources inside Facebook right now. And if you have more information, as always, it's veritastips@protonmail.com. You've identified the...
So Kevin Arnold from Wonder Years was just telling us that they found that this document really does exist. And I'm sorry, I think he looks like Kevin Arnold from Wonder Years. I don't know. I keep looking at that guy. I'm like, you got to see. Last week I found the clip of the other guy who I think is David Berkowitz's kid. I don't know if you saw that guy.
You know how I look like, right? I look like Robin Williams.
Oh my goodness! Now you nailed it. I go, oh, it's Robin Williams. I got to do a Robin Williams impression next time you come on. No, but so we did this the other day where we had the David Berkowitz kid and Kevin Arnold, and we had a nice little bit because you still haven't met Hammerlin Jameson. You saw him probably on Twitter. Hammerlin rips the lid off. He's a character I created on this show, and I feel like I got to create characters, Ryan, because no one's going to listen if it's me telling you to. To rip the lid off the fake news. It's got to be Hammerlin Jameson. So basically, that's what we're doing over here is ripping the lid off. Dag says the business marketing seemed very contrived to me. I guess he's talking about Facebook's business marketing. I think in general, it's got to come to an end. The only thing hopefully it's Cruz or whoever it is that you're speaking to gets involved. I mean, the bottom line I can't understand is why Trump wouldn't, put a stop to it. You know what I mean? Be like, look. What they're doing to me 4.5 months from an election, we saw what happened in 2016. For 3 years, they tried to call Russian collusion that never existed. Everything's been fake news from the beginning. I don't know if you ever saw this. This will blow your mind. I'm going to blow your mind right now, okay? Check this out. Okay. This is a totally random thing. Let's see if this pulls up. Oh, come on, give it to me. It's Pelosi. I call Nancy Pelosi Pelosi. Pelosi. Yeah, she did this bit. And she doesn't know this is out there, but she sure does now. And the bottom line that she did here is she's telling everybody what they do in the Democratic Party. And you're going to be like, are you kidding me?
Self-fulfilling prophecy. You demonize, and then we call it the wrap-up smear. If you want to talk politics, you call it the wrap-up smear. You smear somebody with falsehoods and all the rest, and then you merchandise it. And then you write it, unless they see it's reported in the press, that this, and this, So they have that validation that the press reported the smear, and then it's called the wrap-up smear. Now I'm going to merchandise the press's report on the smear that we made. And it's a tactic, and it's self-evident.
It's self-evident. She's basically like bragging that what they do is create falsehoods, and then you guys report on it, and you make validating stories. Yeah.
So perfect example of that is with Facebook. So this story that came out, like my story is nowhere, but The Verge, which supposed to cover Facebook notoriously, they did a piece on us at our workplace in early 2019. But people think that Facebook's actually supporting Trump now. That's the spin that media is trying to push out there. I think the disinformation, they're trying to make people think, oh yeah, Facebook's like favors Trump, they're pro-Trump, which is there's nothing farther from the truth.
Well, your videos show that how many people in each territory are on the Censorship Bureau? If it's a bureau, what do they call themselves again? Is it council?
There's an office. Well, at least for Cognizant. So Cognizant's one of the subcontractors for Facebook in the United States. And just with Cognizant, there was roughly, between the two sites in Phoenix and Tampa, I would say there's roughly like roughly 3,000 content moderators. But in the U.S., I think there's, don't quote me on, maybe 5,000, 5 to 6, 7,000.
Wow.
Total.
And you have roughly on a daily basis, how much content would you say those call it 5,000 people are combing through? How many, do they have a rough estimate of how many posts there are a day on Facebook that they have to try to sift through? Or do they have help with the algorithm that kind of dials down to a 3% or something like that?
Yeah, so I roughly 200 a day, depending on what you're doing. If you're doing groups, if you're in groups, it's a little bit lower. It's maybe 100 a day. But if you're just doing individual pieces of content, like pages or posts, videos, comments. I did the math the other day. So if you have, I think it was about like 1 million pieces of content a day just from our site alone. So if you're doing, let's say you're doing 200 a day, that's a conservative estimate. Now, the guys in Germany, this was reported on, there was a content moderation site in Germany, and they had to do 500 pieces a day. I don't know how they did it.
So 200 a day. If you figure how many days you're working, like 8 hours a day? Roughly?
Yeah.
Okay, so 8 divided by 200 is what? Roughly 20 every 20 something seconds, or no, I'm trying to figure out how quickly you have to go through a piece of content. About 45 seconds. Okay, so you got 45 seconds to a minute. Yeah. Sometimes you're looking at it, you're like, this is fine. Something you're right off the bat, you're like this. So you give yourself a good 45 seconds to a minute if something's questionable.
Mm-hmm. So 200 pieces of content a day times how many content moderators? Let's just take Phoenix. Let's say 1,000. So that's 200,000 a day. But if we take, well over 1 million pieces. And it's funny because people are saying, I saw a Slate article about the civic audit. So Facebook had this civic audit that was done by former U.S. Senator John Kyle and him and his law firm. So it was between 2018 and 2019 they did a civic audit to see if there was bias. And in the Slate article I read, they were like, oh yeah, like we know there wasn't bias. This is all just political theater. Like, but now we know there was bias. But they're also saying that there's no way for Facebook to know what's going on. Like, there's so many pieces of content. Like they can't keep track. That's the excuse that Facebook uses. Oh, we can't keep track of everything, but they can keep track enough to like target, specific individuals, specific organizations. So they have so many resources and so much technology they can bring to bear to solve these issues, to not be biased, but they're misusing their power.
Well, and also if you think about it too, the intelligence on the side of engineers these days, with the tech, what they have the ability, the things they can do on the ghost side, where you don't know what they're doing, you're being tracked. And then I'm just remembering the free form, the way it used to be back in the day, where you can throw a couple of target words in there, keywords, and then you're just at least sifting through to look for just those things. And so you could, I guess, as you were saying with bots and whatever, they could sift through to find anything conservative based. And then have you as a team say, oh, look, this is something that's flagged. We got to go through it. And all you're looking at is only conservative based, content, because they're trying to pull down as much as possible in order to continue their agenda, so to speak. Let's see. We have just real quick. I don't know if you see this here.
Sure.
Dag said he's a data warehouse conspiracy theorist, and he's mainly because it would be so simple to develop. Is there a Facebook data user warehouse? Are you playing with your dog?
Yeah. Sorry, it's almost like second nature. Like I had him in the room for a little while, and then I'm like, he's been there for a while.
I love it. This is being an unscripted show. I'm like, you playing with the dog? What's going on over there? What kind of dog you got, by the way?
Yeah, he's a German Shepherd. Yeah.
My kids are like begging for a dog right now.
Yeah.
They're like, Daddy, when are we get a dog? I'm like, I don't know. When you get a job? What are you doing? You gonna walk the dog when he got to poop? What's going on over there? Of course, yeah, we'll do it, Daddy. Like for a month, and then I'm the one throwing the ball in the room during a real talk. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead. So data mining, Dag's asking about, but he was curious about if there's a warehouse of some sort for user data.
Not that I don't have any direct knowledge of that. Unfortunately, that's something that we know they've abused data in the past. I didn't.
You weren't a part of it, but
I wasn't a part of that.
You wouldn't be surprised at all, is what you're saying, based on what you're seeing, but what's going on here. You're not surprised with a lot of the shady stuff that's going on at Facebook, I imagine.
Yeah.
So get back to, I want you to talk about something that you haven't been able to speak about on a program. So what do you dig deep? Give me something.
Let's see here. Let me look at my notes. It's getting kind of warm in here.
That's because you're throwing that ball. The dog keeps coming back for more. Let's see. I had a question here, so that while you're thinking about that, I wanted to know if you ever knew of a time where there was truth in the news or just in general. Like I'm not an old man by any means, but I think I've always just gotten fake news. Like I always thought if I listened to Channel 345, I was getting the truth. But everything is slighted. Everything is agenda-based. And I haven't understood that until I've met more people like you, Marianne, who was on last week, and other people who are seeking real truth, and they're willing to speak about the good, the bad, the indifferent. And do you remember a time like that ever? Or is like a platform that existed?
Right. You think back to the 80s, because I feel like the 80s were like the perfect time for news networks, because there really wasn't too much competition. They could just say whatever they wanted. There wasn't social media. Mm-hmm. There was some radio, different radio networks, but I think the 80s was great for media because there wasn't really any competition.
And you couldn't be fact checked, to your point. Like these people would say whatever. They would say whatever back then. So I think that's the funny thing is, so there's more fake news than ever, and everybody can be fact checked, and nobody's fact checking. People just listen and they go, oh, well, I heard this thing on Yahoo, and it wouldn't take very long to just do a 5-minute search. Like I saw a clip I wanted to say recently. Someone said to me that a few things. I heard that Donald Trump hates Mexicans. So I was like, I got to see the clip. So I saw what CNN put out there. I was like, wow, he hates Mexicans. Yeah. And then I was like, let me just watch the entire speech, which I actually saw at the beginning because this is one of the first speeches he made. I think it was his first speech. And he didn't say that. He said, they're sending us really bad people, like drug dealers and thugs and murderers. But I'm sure there's some good ones in there as well, but they're definitely sending us bad people. You know what I mean? And and I think in a way that's factual, is people who they're not thriving there are coming here. And they're taking advantage of a situation. And I think something else that no one talks about is, I've heard this many times before, the doors will be big and they'll be open to anybody who comes in legally. I've heard that many times, but you don't hear that on the news. You hear, oh, he wants to keep illegal aliens out. And so everything that's being perpetuated is along the line here is that there's a hatred from the president that doesn't exist. And I've been looking. Look, I want people to show me. This other day I had a guy on here, Ryan, he goes, Trump is a white supremacist. I said, really? Show me the data. I said, you know what Trump is? He's an American supremacist. Is that a thing? I don't know. I may have made it up. But Trump is an American supremacist. He wants America to be supreme. Everybody in America, he wants to thrive. I'm just calling it like I see it. I took 400 days off too, Ryan. I didn't watch politics for 400 days because of the negatube. I had to shut it off. And then I get to that State of the Union speech, and I was blown away when I heard him go, America, look, America's doing so great, Ryan. We're winning big league. And when we're there, and then I see half the room like this. And when I heard him say, 7 million people, they came off of footsteps, Ryan, big league. And then half the room's going, and I was like, these idiots are not getting his vote. That's why they're like this. Because someone actually did something for these people instead of calling for it every 4 years and then doing nothing for them. So I just thought it was an interesting. And since that moment came, I'm like, screw it. I'm doing my Trump impression. I'm talking whatever I'm saying at all because no one else is doing it. And I always said people are going to tune into this program if they want to. And if they don't like my perspective on things, they're not going to tune in anyway. So I'm just going to go with it. You know what I'm saying? And when I find we're meeting with people like you, like when people start to express themselves, I think they find more happiness. I really believe that. And I don't know if you find that. It was a question. What we usually get to is we talk about what you want to, and then at the end it's about positivity. Like, how do you find your way back to happiness with all this going on? And I think most of it's expression. Let's keep going, but I do believe that. Like when you fully express yourself, you fill your soul with happiness. Keep going. I'm all ears now, brother.
So we're talking about media, and it's funny because that's one of the things, and we're also talking about, and you're letting me to talk, which is nice, and that's the other thing that I learned when you're talking to filming people, and I was filming people, and I got to a point where I was pretty comfortable. You know, I almost forgot I had a camera on.
Yeah.
But
that's the best, by the way, when you do that. We can just be comfortable.
But you're supposed to let them talk. You're supposed to just ask them a question, then shut up and let them talk and let them hang themselves, pretty much, which some of them did.
Horribly.
Yeah. So, but here's the thing. Here's something I haven't mentioned at all on any other show. Crisis actors. Okay. So there was a specific policy. So remember when David Hogg came out after I think it was the Parkland shooting in Florida. There was David Hogg, and there's other, and you have the Sandy Hook. So, there's certain conspiracies, and I'm not going to go into whether I believe those conspiracy theories or not. But Facebook did have a policy that gave more protections to people like David Hogg, and disallowed any conspiracy theories. So if you said David Hogg is a crisis actor, that's a delete.
They would pull it off. They would pull it right off because they'd say that's going to create inflammatory rhetoric or whatever.
Yeah, because it's like hurtful to the victims or whatever. They're a victim of a violent tragedy. So it's kind of that same policy we're talking about, like the cruel and sensitive, where, hey, this is insensitive and inappropriate. So, I mean, that kind of dovetails into what we were talking about. I mean, censorship, the media, it really makes them a news. They really are a news channel. They're a publisher in that regard.
Yeah, but they're publishing it's the CNN of the internet. Yeah, it's the CNN of the internet. It's basically what it is. It's the communist news network. And then there's something this document we were just talking about, and we didn't get into it, but that document that Veritas, Kevin Arnold from Wonder Years.
Okay, the HR document. So the H1, we didn't really comment on that.
Yeah.
So the H1B1 visa. So this document. And I watched that video. So this was the first video in the series, at the Exposed Facebook series. So that was the first video. Then Zach's was on Tuesday, and mine came out on Thursday. Mine was the last one. So this document basically said, hey, we're going to prioritize foreign workers, basically. And so, and that person. So I think Facebook came out and denied that document was accurate.
Which is the first move always for a corporation, for a company. They're going to say, no, that's not.
Yeah.
And then, of course, it's somebody who did this unilaterally. It was some manager that decided to take this upon them to create this document. So, the more of it's going to come out. But the question about that specific idea, is it so they could pay them less? Is that what I read? Or is it just because of diversity and they wanted to have less Americans and more people from different races in? It's because it was kind of murky the way it read.
I mean, I think that's part of it. I think it's a cost-cutting measure. That definitely is a cost-cutting measure. Now, just to kind of segue, not to it's something related to this. So let's just look at the timeline. So 2016, Trump wins, right?
Yeah.
So Facebook's like freaking out, like, okay, what the hell just happened, right?
Yeah.
And so prior to that, there weren't that many content moderators, like U.S.-based content moderators. It was mainly foreign people who were, looking at our stuff.
Interesting.
So this is a big reason. So the contract with Cognizant started in 2017, a very lucrative contract for 3 years, which Cognizant ended early this past February. So we started that contract in 2017.
Years to end right about the election.
Yeah. So no, and they told us, hey, that's the reason we brought you guys. We hired all these people in the U.S. because we there's a lot of election fraud that happened in 2016, and we got to make sure that doesn't happen again. So it's like that quote. You're muting a little bit sometimes. I'm not sure
muting?
why.
Let me see.
Yeah.
Is that any better?
There you go. Yeah. So that was the reason they gave. Hey, because it's expensive to hire U.S. workers. Don't get me wrong. I mean, even if you're making like $15 an hour, which I was making $15 an hour, it was a pretty good company to work with. They had pretty good benefits, but it's expensive compared to hiring someone in India. It's a lot more expensive than U.S. So Facebook went to great lengths and great costs to have English-speaking U.S.-based people looking at election content. So 2018, they're like, it was their practice was, and they really worked on in 2018 to like look at the midterms. They gave us guidance. Hey, if it's election related, mark it with this tag so that we can see it, what's happening. If it's related to hate speech, related concerning one of the candidates, like they had an old election team set up in HQ in San Francisco. It was a big deal. So just think about that. So
they set up for the election.
Trump won.
2018, they set up a complete team to handle all the data. And I don't know the answer to this, so tell me. Did the Republicans have control of everything in 16, or no? Did Democrats hold something?
Yeah, I think in 2016 when Trump won, we had a Republican majority Congress. Yeah, because for the first 2 years, Republicans had a majority in Congress and Senate.
And we lost
because in 2018 they're calling it the blue wave. So it always happens when the Republican president's in office. Like Democrats usually win back more seats in Congress.
Okay, all right.
So they did win back some.
I was going to go conspiracy theory on this and say that what they did was in 16 they were like, okay, we can't believe we lost. 17 they're like, we can't lose 18. We need to get back at least one of the houses so we can try to stop this guy.
Yeah.
And they rigged the 18 election so they can make sure that they got back the House at least, so they can be where they are today. Because I wonder again if none of this stuff existed, if they let people get the content from 16 on. First of all, fake news wouldn't be as strong as it is, and people would still either decide to hate or like the guy. Yeah. But they'd actually know the good things that happened in the last 4 years.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, nobody knows about it.
Nobody knows about it.
Quick note on that as well is it's not just the U.S. elections they're messing with. It's internationally. So like we talked about Mexico earlier, giving favors to a Mexican president's son on Facebook, giving more protections on Facebook. There's some other things coming up. I can't really talk much about them, but there's some things that were uncovered in regards to Venezuela, in regards to Spain, Poland. So yeah, I mean, they have training decks globally, and that kind of scares me. I'm like, okay, why is a private company? Why are they so worried about what's happening in foreign countries with elections? It's just I think just the risk of abuse is just too high you have.
And so that you're saying the training deck is specifically coordinated for a region.
Yeah. So basically they'll say, and they did this for 2018 as well here in the US, they said, hey, here's the candidates in the presidential election. Here's the list of them. Here's some common topics that we talked about. In Canada, they're like, hey, this person's running for president. He's a Sikh. He wears a head covering. Watch out for hateful statements against, with regards to him. But it goes along this whole same trend. Even when during the Honduran caravan crisis in 2018, roughly, there was this big immigration, that caravan from Central America, and during that time they would post all the time. They would say, "Hey, watch out for Trump. Trump's making a statement about this caravan. watch out for any hate speech might be related to this, or watch out for his dog whistling. Trump went to South Africa. He's using South Africa as a dog whistle. Watch out for racist statements. So all the guidance was geared to us to help us make us more aware of any hate speech from Trump supporters. Like that's how it was engineered.
Did you see Hoaxed, the movie Hoaxed? Did you happen to watch that yet? It's a documentary. There's Mike Cernovich. He's a very interesting documentary about all fake news and about how it's been engineered against Trump, essentially. But something I saw that blew my mind was that whole caravan. It's interesting they call it a caravan because it literally was a bunch of caravans together. Like they had buses. These were like, what are those buses? The Greyhound buses lined up. And they would take all these people out of the buses and they'd have them walk down the streets holding their babies, brand new clothes, take photos of them, video. They had people handing out cash to these people. And they say, okay, get back on the bus. You got to keep going. We got our footage to make Trump look bad for today. We'll come and do it again tomorrow. 2,500 miles they took these buses up to the border. And it was Soros, I heard, that paid for all of this in order to make it look like something that wasn't really going on.
Yeah.
And when you have people go to lengths like that in order to shift the perspective of a country, that should scare people. And then, to take this one step further, I don't know what you may have seen or knew about this with Flynn and the fact that they were basically spying on the president of the United States, the current president, prior to being the president. That to me is similar to, like Watergate, right? I mean, isn't that what Nixon did? And then Nixon left office, but he would have been impeached. Obama, he does this. We know he does this. On the 20th, Susan Rice writes that letter to herself, that email to herself. And no one's talking about it, Ryan.
Yeah.
And then do you think that there are other people that are talking about it? And there's a measure out there from Facebook that says, hey, look, if there's anything that comes out about X, about these, pull it right down. That's an absolute hate speech. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, are they using it to that length?
And I think that's lengths they'll go to. I mean, there might be an article coming out in the next week or so. We might be, talking to some large news organizations. And that's the goal, to hopefully get it covered by New York Times or some large publication. But right now I have to work with who I can to get this released. But I can't go into much detail about it, but an example is, one example is Boogaloo. I think I talked about, so Eric Ciaramella, you know how they banned him. So I won't go into Eric Ciaramella too much, but I'll talk about Boogaloo. So during the impeachment proceedings this past winter, it seems like such a long time ago, there was this hashtag Boogaloo that was trending. And I followed it on Instagram, and it's like Boogaloo Boys. Like it's kind of a code word for like an armed revolution, basically. At least that's my interpretation of it. But they use memes and whatnot, and so I raised that up to Facebook, and so they could have greater visibility into what was going on with that hashtag. But yeah, like they can do a proactive pull and basically put that any content related to Boogaloo into our queue, so it gets a greater percentage of those posts. If you took all the posts on Facebook, okay, well, we're just focusing on this percentage of posts that are related to Boogaloo. So people who are posting that, they're going to be under great scrutiny. So hashtag Boogaloo was trending. Eric Ciaramella, what else was trending? The Virginia gun rally.
The skate around here is that you basically what Zucks has done is created an army of censors, and he could at any time decide to shift everything towards an agenda. So he could, 2 days before the election, he could come out there and say, you know what, every censor, they don't even have to know they're doing this, Ryan. They are just showing up and looking in their queue. They see their 200 for the day. They just happen to be all Trump related. They happen to be all related to something positive that could help this president stand, or something that's somehow making Sleep Sofa Joe look positive or interesting. I don't know. The guy, I want to watch paint dry, and I would do that every day of my life instead of see that guy. But I'll say this one time, Ryan, I said it the other day. If December or whatever it is, November 4th comes and Joe Biden wins president, that's my sleep sofa. That's my sleep sofa. I'm not going to walk around and say it's not mine. That's my sleep sofa right there. It comes in 7 different fabrics, by the way. Look, my Aunt Judy told me that, Ryan. My Aunt Judy told me. We haven't done much Biden tonight, but no, but I just, I think, you hear my kids are out of their minds, but I just think it's very crazy that we are touching on everything. I don't want to keep you forever because literally,
well, I'll do one last thing.
I literally, if like Mary M did 3 hours and 18 minutes. And then she started off the next one, Ryan. She goes, look, Mark, I know we did like a Rogan type thing last time, like 3 hours plus. She goes, but I can't do it again. Then she did 4 hours. I'm like, what are you doing to me here, you know? But I mean, the bottom line is we should, you know, life is about having a nice conversation, and how often does that happen these days? You know what I mean? So again, I'll lay it out, like I said before, like any day you were like, hey, you know what? I didn't get to say this on this show. It pissed me off. I wanted to say it. Just shoot me. You got my cell phone number now. Shoot me a message. Like I'm on every night around 10, but that's like 7 for you, I think, out in Arizona. So that should work, you know, but any night, you know, I'm usually here. Keep going though. If there's anything else you want to share, you said you had one more thing for us.
Yeah, we didn't really get into. Okay, well, it's kind of funny because on the Alex Jones show, we mentioned that. So when they banned Alex Jones and Infowars, from all 3 platforms, the post that they gave us, it actually said emergency update. So it's an emergency.
I heard you say that.
So it's like, okay, child porn is not an emergency. Like graphic violence videos are not an emergency. No, it's Alex Jones. It's some conspiracy. In some circles, he's a conspiracy theorist. That's how he's portrayed, right?
Yeah. Well, of course, everything. You have somebody. Look, we're in a society. This is a great lesson I saw the other day. This is a meme I saw on Insta, actually. Okay, and someone had a teacher gets up in front of the classroom, writes 10 equations on the board. The first one he gets wrong. He says like 1 times 7 is 9. And then he does all the rest correct. The whole class is laughing at him. He's like, what's so funny? And he goes, oh, well, you got that wrong. What an idiot. He goes, I wanted to make a point to you guys. You can get everything right and do one thing wrong, and everybody will just continue to nail you for that. And so just don't let the little things bother you, because we're all going to make mistakes. We're human beings. Sig Sauer. Sig Sauer is awesome. You guys are all awesome. If you have any other questions before we lose Ryan, I don't want to have you say later, why did you ask him this?
So Gavin McInnes, right? He's on the. We'll look for these questions here, but Gavin McInnes is on the hate list, right?
Okay.
So he's like a hate figure, along with Tommy Robinson, Faith Goldie. So these people who were right leaning, but Gavin McInnes. I mean, they're not. But they're literally on the same list, the same hate figure list, like right under. If I remember correctly, I think, Gavin McInnes is like right under, or no, Tommy Robinson is right under Hitler, like on the same freaking list.
Are you serious?
So like you're comparing mass murderers to like people that just happen to be not on the right side of the political spectrum in our current climate, based on the powers that be, the way that media portrays them. So Facebook's using Southern Poverty Law, ADL to make these decisions. But if you look at that list, it's what about people on the other side who advocated? Antifa's not on their list. Is not. I can confirm it's not on their hate list.
Antifa's not on their hate list.
Not on the list. Marcus Garvey, for example, was a nationalist, a black nationalist in the early 1900s, and he advocated for racial purity. Basically, essentially, he's not on the list. So, but white nationalists are on the list. But which I totally oppose any form of racism, right?
Yeah.
But white nationalists are on the hate figure list, but on the flip side, races are treated differently. So a black nationalist from the early 1900s is not on the list, but anyways. So that's just a quick aside. I mean,
well, they have. So here's the thing I'm having an issue with, and I think this is the problem with our current society, and where we'll continue to have a problem until we decide to get rid of this. It's the amount we divide ourselves. We continue to create a new. Oh, here's another one. Here's another tree. Another what's it called? Another limb off the tree. And I think it's unbelievable, because if you just decided to look at everybody as a brother and sister, and you just say, look, I'm looking for something positive to come out of you. We talk about this often on the show, but we're so concerned with the color of someone's skin, or not us, but fake news is, and people who want to focus on one thing instead of 50 plus people a day dying in Chicago. No one's talking about it. Little kids getting shot on the street, black on black. That doesn't matter. A life is a life. And the bottom line is, if we all realize that we all matter, everything matters, and we should love each other and love each other more, I think that would be great. But right now, we're seeing all this division. So my new thing is, it's not the color of your skin. It's the color of the light coming out of your heart. Okay. And if it's a positive light, everybody should be saying this, by the way. And I've seen a few people start to mimic this on their pages. I'm not looking at the color of your skin. I'm looking at the color of the light coming out of your heart. And if it's darkness, I don't want to be your friend. If it's light, you're my buddy forever. You know what I mean? And I think we're starting to see this. People are so separated. Right? Isn't it so weird? Like, we'll be like, no, guys, are you kidding me? But then the other side, this FakeBook / CNN side of things, is only blaring out these negatives. Here's a crazy thing real quick. Someone said this to me and it made me laugh. Trump.
That's my dog.
The dog is cool. Trump said, no, Trump could he could come up with a cure for cancer. And the liberals would say, yeah, but it was the wrong type of cancer. And when I heard that joke, I stole it, first of all. And then I said, yeah, it's so true. Like, Trump could come up with a cure for cancer. And then later that night, you see Don Lemonhead say, yeah, but it was the wrong type of cancer. What kind of stupid president comes up with the cancer for that cancer? He couldn't cure the other one? You know, like, it's always a negative. I wish we had someone who says, yeah, today that Trump said this stupid thing. And then he also took 4,400 prisoners out of prison, the Terraform Act. That was pretty cool. 97% were black, but he's a racist and he's a xenophobe and all this stuff. Like, I want to see information. They're not showing us the information. They're showing us what they want us to see. And it's all, oh man, it bothers me so much, Ryan, just because it's all negative on positive. Does that make sense? It's all negative on the actual positive of this world right now.
Yeah. Blowing
my own mind in the moment. So so we have positive things going on for this country. Think about this for a second, guys. I'm just, because Ryan's I'm going to let Ryan go, but I want him to walk away with this thought. We have all these positives going on for the country prior to coronavirus, okay? And you have all these negatives. Try to take them down. All this conspiracy crap. Let's go Russians. The Russian stuff is what caused them to impeach the president, right? Is that how it started?
Yeah. I think it was. Yeah, I'm pretty. Yeah, that was the whole basis of it. The fact that,
and then we find out it's fake. So how could you impeach a president and it was all fake in the first place?
Yeah.
So anyway, I don't want to look at. You've been on with me for an hour and 42 minutes, almost 42 minutes, brother. I appreciate it. I was like, I don't know how much Ryan's going to give us. Maybe we'll get a half hour on him, But like I said, doors always open here. If there's anything you want to say quickly at the end here, but I do want to thank everybody for sticking around. Dagger, thank you so much for introducing me to Ryan on Twitter, and we'll be chatting about this later, brother. I may do a replay of this on Facebook. I'm sure they're going to love it.
Yeah. Thank you to all of those that watched. I think I retweeted the live video onto my page, my Twitter page.
Oh, awesome.
And I got 4 retweets, I think.
Oh, that's awesome.
And Transparent Media Truth. Shout out to all. And I go,
that's awesome. That's Rob, I think. And so Sig here on the end said Sandy Hook crisis actors were disgusting. Parent actors getting caught off screen, what to say and when to start crying in the interview is horrible. And now with Floyd stooping, having someone I can't even. I'll say something very quickly at the end here. I think that I saw a manifesto that came across. You may have seen something about this, where they created this race war like in early April. It was signed off on like April 21st. I actually have the document if you wanted to see it. And they lay out agitorgs and all this stuff and how they're going to get people to go and create a riot. Okay. And how to treat people and to use their cell phones, all this stuff. And so that was finalized in early April. So my theory is that they were just waiting for a George Floyd situation to occur. It didn't have to be George Floyd. It just had to be something so they could start that race war. Because if you recall, the week or so prior to this, 2 things happened. People started going out of their houses and protesting because they wanted to go back to work. And then on top of that, you had, what was the second thing that happened that week? No, I can't remember. But we had the George Floyd thing basically took, oh no, I'm sorry, it was Sleep Sofa Joe coming out and saying, if you don't know who you're going to vote for, you ain't black.
Yeah.
That happened the day before. The day before. So again, some people say that it was staged. That's the way you stage something. The whole world's talking about, did you hear what Sleep Sofa Joe said? Yeah, look, if you haven't, then you ain't black. First of all, using the word ain't, I was like, I nailed that. I was like, that's a racist. What a going after the, let me get that. And then nobody talked about that because George Floyd happened. It's been a month of protests since. So
it's clear that it's systematized. It's a system. They've planned it. It's organized. Now, the video from Project Veritas before the H1B1 that came out, something like back maybe like a couple weeks ago, it was actually, they filmed a guy undercover who was organizing like Fascists United or something like that, or I forget the name of it, but they were talking to the organizer, and this was from a couple years ago, but he was basically saying, if we can just get a couple thousand people in the streets in 5 major cities, we can make it look like there's this huge uprising when really it's just a small percentage. Like, so they were planning this from the get-go, from like 2 years ago. They were planning this. This guy has ties to George Soros, so it's documented. And so it's organized. It's not just random riots. Like, somebody has to organize all these people. Absolutely.
When you get a chance, whenever you're in between interviews or end of the night, go onto this YouTube page and look for Dr. Soros. I did Dr. Evil bit where Dr. Evil calls Putin, and then they get George Soros on the phone. My George Soros is very funny. You got to watch it. And I'll give away the secret. At the end, he turns into Emperor Palpatine. He sounds just like Palpatine. I swear. You got to watch. It's pretty funny. But anyway, listen, I really appreciate you so much and for what you are doing. Guys, just one more time. Tad just came on. Tad said, hey, remember to smash that like button. Yeah, that's true. I want you guys to, again, head over to Ryan's GoFundMe page, GoFundMe.com/F/Facebook Insider. And the F stands for F the FakeBook, okay? So GoFundMe.com/F/Facebook Insider. Ryan Hartwig, I so much appreciate you. You're awesome, brother. Keep spreading that good word of truth and light, and we're here to support you, bud. Anytime you want to come out, this show is yours to come out and speak through this platform.
No, I appreciate the time you spent with me, Mark, and it's been fun. It was more definitely more laid back. I could kind of speak from my heart and a little less, strict. So.
Well, I was hoping for that. I honestly, because I've done some in the past where it's not my show, and that first couple minutes, it's kind of, you're uncomfortable. You're trying to get the flow going, and some of these things they put you on. You're on for 2 minutes. You're on for 20 minutes. How does that give you a chance to get free and really get your thoughts out there? So, like I said, we did an hour and 46 minutes just now. But if you feel like doing more next time, you just give us a ring, brother.
All right, sounds good.
All right, man. Hey, thanks so much. Have a great night, okay?
All right, you too.
All right, brother. Take care, okay?
Bye-bye.
Guys, how awesome was that? Ryan rocks. So cool. I'm shutting off the meeting is officially over. That's officially over, guys. Holy cow. An hour and 46 minutes with the whistleblower on the FakeBook. That's right, people. I'm not even sure if I'm still on the FakeBook anymore. They may have said, you know what? We got to take this guy down. We got to take him down because he's dropping the truth on us. I'm going to play you guys a couple clips right now. Yeah, Tad, did you get a chance to see it? I'm not sure if you saw the whole thing. We had such a great time. And it was so cool to get Ryan on. Look, I hope you guys got the information we needed. He dropped a couple things he said he never said on any other show before. And I'm pretty sure it's the first hour and 46-minute show he did. So pretty cool stuff. Hopefully you guys got something out of it. And how cool is it that I'm actually here early with you? Dude, you guys are so cool, especially for adding. Rob added some great questions here, and Dagger sent some questions. And I hope and Sig also was adding some details in here. I'm hopefully you guys got all your questions in. I have a feeling maybe we'll have a chance to see Ryan again in the future. He's such a cool guy. And again, this platform's open to any truth speakers. I didn't realize when I started this on December 31st, 2018, that I'd have a platform one day for others to come and speak and to be able to get out what they can't anywhere else. And I don't know if I'm bucking the system and we're going to have somebody say, nope, we don't like this influence. But I'm just dropping light on this world, and I'm going to let it. Anybody else who has light coming out of their heart, I'm here to help. I'm here to help, because my light plus their light is blinding light, and we're here to just give it out. So, oh, look at this. Love the earlier hour, says the young early bird dinner boom. That's right. The boom. Okay, so speaking of this, guys, we're going to get into a couple of clips real quick. I want to show you where we started, where we are. I created the Donald Trump show. Very excited about this, and hopefully you guys like it. I may have to do something real quick, though. Hold on. It may have to be flipped sideways. Let me see.
Hamill and Jameson introducing episode 1 of the Donald J. Trump Show.
Look, I want to thank you for joining me on a brand new episode of the Donald Trump Show. That's right. We're going to be here every week delivering truth about the Biden campaign, because no one's telling you what's really going on. I'm going to pull back the curtain, and you're going to see what Joe Biden is really up to. Here we go.
We choose science over fiction. We choose truth over facts.
Will somebody please alert Mr. Biden that truth and facts are the same thing? I think he's been watching too much fake news on CNN. Okay, what else do we have from this blubbering train wreck?
My name's Joe Biden. I'm a Democratic candidate for the United States Senate. Look me over. If you like what you see, help out. If not, vote for the other Biden. Give me a look, though, okay?
Now, first of all, who's the other Biden? Who is the other Biden? I'm wondering, because if it's Hunter Biden, he'll be in jail. But if there's another Biden, perhaps he can actually complete a sentence. That Biden I'd like to hear from. Okay, let's see what else we've got.
Trust.
Like his strange hold on Defense Secretary Ash Carter's wife, Stephanie.
Sleep Sofa Joe has been doing this for years. He's a creeper. And we're going to put a stop to him.
I like the way your hair smells. Let me give you a little kiss here.
And can you believe? Look at how he's touching that little girl. Honestly, I'm a little worried about that little girl. Sleep Sofa Joe has been doing all kinds of racist things for years. I'm just going to show you a few of the clips. Take a look at this one, for example.
You cannot go to a 7-Eleven or a Dunkin' Donuts unless you have a slight Indian accent. I'm not joking.
Look, I'm surprised you guys are fine with hearing Joe Biden say you need an Indian accent in order to go to Dunkin' Donuts. Yeah, I've been to Dunkin' Donuts many times. I don't have an Indian accent. But let's continue on. I have a lot more to play for you. Now check out this clip, for example.
Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids.
Racist Joe strikes again. Poor kids are just as talented and bright as white kids? What does that even mean? This is getting good, guys. What's next?
Play the radio. Make sure make sure you have the record player on at night.
Really, Joe? That's a good idea. We'll get the record player out. How about we go and actually light a fire and we do smoke signals? How about that? What do we have next from Sleep Sofa Joe?
Think about it. We hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women created by you know the thing.
The question is, do you know the thing, Joe? Do you know the thing, Sleep Sofa Joe? The thing, Joe, is that we are all created equal. That's right, God is the creator of all, not Satan and your adrenochrome. Okay, let's get one more at least. How about one more?
I'm not going to be a mule. I got something to do. I got to go do boom, boom, boom.
Did Sleep Sofa Joe just say he has to go do a poop-a-doop? I think he said it right in front of his crowd. I would never say that right in front of my crowd. If I'm going to take a poop-a-doop, I'm doing it on my own time, not in front of people. I don't know. It's a little weird there. Look, let's give him a chance to redeem himself. One more, okay?
You got more questions, but I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
Wow. Really? Look, I'm not sure what else to say after watching that ridiculousness. But that's Sleep Sofa Joe. Are you going to vote for that guy? How about you? Look, if that's the case, this world's crazy.
Crazy, crazy world, people. It's a crazy, crazy world. So I'm live with you, day 548 in a row. and we just officially had an amazing interview with Ryan Hartwig. And Ryan is a brave individual who's continuing to rip the lid off the fake news that FakeBook, that's right, the FakeBook, is continuing to perpetrate on this United States of America. This free country, this freedom that you think you have is only basically it's a shell. I learned today that they could target your content. They could direct your content so you think it's going out there. It's not going anywhere. Oh yeah, that's happening. So that was part 1, guys. And then today I dropped this. This is part 2. Here we go. Donald J. Trump. Look, we're winning big league. I hope you enjoy my new talk show. It's called The Donald Trump Show. That's right. Look, go with what works, okay? I've been working the Trump legacy since the early 70s. I walked down the street. I said, Trump. They said, what? What'd you say? I said, Trump. They said, oh, did you say Trump? I said, yes, that's exactly what I friggin' said. I said, Trump, open the doors to heaven. And I won big league. Anyway, so this is part 2 of The Trump Show.
It's Haverl and Jameson introducing Donald Trump for episode 2 of The Trump Show.
Thank you. Thank you very much for joining me on episode 2 of The Donald Trump Show. We're going to continue digging deeper into Joe Biden, his mental state, and whether or not he falls asleep on camera. So let's get into it. Here's a couple of clips from earlier today. We're going to get into it now. Here we go.
Campaigning from home about Biden hiding in his cellar. Well, the truth of the matter is over 200 million people have watched me on television, and they've watched, and the more that, excuse me.
No, keep going, Joe. You're doing great. Doing fantastic, yes. No, we're really thrilled. I'm sure 200 million people really enjoyed watching the sleep sofa. Look, I could take a nap on my own sleep sofa. I don't need to watch you while I do it, unless they were trying to fall asleep quicker. Maybe instead of reading, they said, well, if I watch Biden, I could fall right to sleep. Okay, let's see what's next.
I've been down to Virginia. I've been around the country, but I do it responsibly, and I don't hold rallies because it is the reason why we're in such trouble by not listening to the experts and the scientists about social distancing and wearing masks, which I never do when I walk outside of this house.
Wait, let me get this straight. So the scientists and doctors tell us to wear masks, but the moment you leave the house, you don't wear your mask? Sleep sofa, I'm pulling a little fake news on you right now. Just check the real footage.
And wearing masks, which I never do when I walk outside of this house. I never fail to do.
See? And Trump will play it for you because I think you still look like an idiot. Okay, what else we got?
That's who we are. That's how my great-great-grandfather, 4 greats back got here. He got in a coffin ship in the Irish Sea, never knowing whether he was going to make it, and made it to the United States of America in 1848 when the British were, anyway.
The British were coming. Look, it's like Paul Revere. No, finish it up, Joe. What were you saying? When the British were coming? Is that your grandfather was part of the crew? Is your grandfather a redcoat? What are we talking about here? I'm trying to figure out what the hell Joe is talking about. My grandfather, and when the British, he said, and then he stopped himself. I think he was about to say when the British were coming. Anyway, look, as long as Joe continues to stay in his basement, and he won't debate me, I'm going to have the Trump Show continue. So till tomorrow, have a good night.
Donald Trump TV. Live in effect. I wonder what I'll do for episode 3. Tomorrow, I'll have to figure it out. I didn't get to make one because I was putting together, getting prepared for the show, as you saw with the Zoom call, which was pretty cool, right? I think we had a pretty good conversation. Did you guys enjoy it? Is there anything I missed? Hope not. How often do you get a whistleblower on the phone? Well, hopefully on the Real Talk show, a lot. We'll see. Depends on the Dagger and Sig and Rob and everybody else out there is spreading the word and finding new guests for the show. Open forum, really. I mean, we get people on here who want to speak their piece. Sig, I may have a chance to get on here at some point to talk about a business he's working on, hoping to do that. And same thing, guys. If you have anything you want to express, again, this is just a platform. We can come on and go on to Zoom with me, and we could chat it out. Or if you want me to just get into something, just shoot it along, and I'll talk about it. See what the hell comes out. Right? So I don't know. Maybe I should play you guys a song or something. What do you think? We're on early. It's only been an hour and 48 minutes. 58 minutes. We're almost at 2 hours. That's what happens here on the Real Talk program. We let it fly. It's funny. I had no idea. I don't know if he's going to come on for 5 minutes, half hour. I'm pretty sure he's used to doing the most about 20 minutes. I saw he did 22 minutes on the Alex Jones show the other day. And it was pretty cool to get him on here and just free form. Just let it fly. Let it fly. As I said, there's not enough of that going on in this world. What I call real talk is letting the words that the universe wants you to speak come out. When you have a fear of the next word coming out of your mouth, it's a problem. That is a problem. You don't want to be there. You want to be somewhere where you could say, you know what, I feel good. I'm going to roll with it. I'm going to play you something real quick and I'm going to get the guitar set up. Let's see what we got here. This is one of my favorites. Recent. Very recent. And it's got some funny outtakes at the end. Here we go.
Hammer and Jameson rip the lid off of it. Donald Trump, he's giving us the scoop on 2 or 3 books coming out.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you coming to join me on short notice. I wanted to let you know there are a couple of tell-all books coming out. First one's on my lovely wife, Melania. I'm not sure where this lady thinks she gets... Oh, she's from the Washington Post. There we go. That makes sense. It does. I mean, look, election year, we're going to have a book come out like 4 months before the election. And it's going to be a tell-all about your wife and about how she doesn't like you. And you sleep in different beds. Of course we sleep in different beds. She snores. She's a snorer. Look, I'm sorry. Donald J. Trump needs his beauty sleep. And if you had a snorer from Slovenia in the bed next to you, I think you would also want to have your own gold bedroom with a gold mattress and a gold pillowcase. So anyway, the other one is a tell-all book from my niece, of all people. You think there'd be some family loyalty, but no, it's an election year. She can make some money. Look, she's not a billionaire like Donald. So she's taking her shot. I get it. The other one is Bolton. I gotta tell you, Bolton, he's not like Michael Bolton at all. He has no charisma. No charisma like Michael Bolton. I'm just saying, he's not charismatic at all. He probably takes a crap very awkward as well. Like maybe he's like leaning, to stabilize. I don't know. Look, it's all BS, fake news, just letting you know. I'm just saying, he's not charismatic at all. He probably takes a crap really awkward. Like maybe he's like leaning against...
I couldn't stop laughing at that, guys. Could not stop laughing at it when it happened. Let's see if that works. Let's get the camera back over here. Well, my friends, the time is cold. Find some fun. Woo! Throw away the work to be done. Yeah. Let the music play on. Everybody see you, everybody dance. You know what romance, we're going to party. Fiesta forever. Yeah, come on and sing a song. Yeah, yeah. We're going to party, liming, fiesta. Oh, come on and sing along. Is this working? Doesn't sound like it. It's crazy. I gotta go through batteries like crazy on this thing. Give me a second. I got batteries over here. Well, my friends, let us go. Okay. Have some fun. Oh, I got a song. You guys are going to like this one because it's a random tune. I'm going to say something and you'll be like, oh yeah, I know what you're talking about, Mark. Ready? This is what I'm going to say to you. You can be like, oh my goodness, I know what you're talking about, Mark. Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice. A Beetlejuice.
What do you mean a Beetlejuice? What I mean is a Beetlejuice, okay? Is what I mean. Not a Beetlegoose, a Beetlejuice. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, then you're a Beetlejuice.
Let's see, I'm trying to find it. There we go. There we go. Is it here? Here we go. So it's lower. That's where it is. All right. Sometimes you gotta quickly check it out. You realize it's not a higher tone. It's not like you gotta go crazy higher on the register mark. Just sing it. Sing it with soul. All right. They sing it with some heart, some soul. It's a song called Deo.
telling me daylight come on me wanna go home.
These aren't the right freaking chords, dude. Forget it. Forget about the Deo song.
I don't like it anymore, people. I started the Deo song and I started saying, hell no, on the Deo, okay? How about we do this one instead? It goes a little something like this. I'm going to play you something of my own. Forget about it. It's called Drop the Fake Book, is what it's called, by Donald J. Trump. This is a song by the Trumper. I've been thinking about writing it for a while. And it's a song about our current climate, the fake news and all such. And we're going to get into it right now. It's a very, very great song. It's probably the greatest song ever. I made it right now. It hasn't been created prior. I'm going to do it right this second. But it's the greatest song ever created. It's already gone past 1 million. 1 million listeners. It hasn't even been written. 1 million people already ordered a pre-order copy of the Trump song, it's called. It's called the Trump song. It goes a little like this. Donald J. Trump. And I haven't gotten a fair shake from square one. Best song ever, just qualified for a diamond. I already did gold. I have enough gold at home. My toilet. My toilet is made of gold, actually. Melania, you're not sitting on my toilet, right? Good girl. You can't. You're not allowed to, Melania. It's gold. It's Trump's gold. Remember, you can't touch, tarnish, or really be in the same room with Trump's gold. What do we got? Love me 2 times, baby. Love me twice today. Love me 2 times, girl. I'm blown away. Love me 2 times, girl. 1 for tomorrow, 1 just for today. Oh, love me 2 times. I'm blown away. Love me 1 time. Could not speak. Love me 2 times. My knee gone weak. Love me 2 times, girl. Last night, all through the week. Love me 2 times, I'm blown away. Love me 2 times, then I'm blown away. Love me 2 times.
I'm blown away. Love me 2 times, I'm blown away. Love me 2 times, I'm blown. What else I got in me? A little tired. I got on earlier, but it's 7 o'clock and we did 2 hours. Let's see how much time we actually did, people. Where are we? What time is it right now? We did 1 hour, 97 minutes. Now we did 2 hours and 14 minutes so far. I think that's pretty good. Pretty good show for day 548 in a row. We did have Ryan Hartwig out of the program. Man, was it awesome to have a conversation with him about what's happening at Facebook, at the FakeBook. I'll call it FakeBook. I mean, it was just might as well, right? We'll play a little instrumental here. You throw the guitar at the wall. It's crazy. Sometimes you express yourself by breaking the guitar instead of playing it. That was just something. I don't know what the heck that was, guys. Let's create something better than that, okay? Something a little cooler. This happens when we just improvise a little bit. Anyway, let me get back to the real deal here.
Hammer Jameson, rip the lid off of it. Donald Trump, he's giving us the scoop on 2 or 3 bucks coming out.
Thank you so much.
I'm going to give you a little hammer jam action here. Ralph Batista, you're the man. I got to say hello to my man Ralph out there. He's going to be sharing the show to a lot of his friends on Twitter. He said, look, anybody who shares the Hammer Jam / Real Talk program with people is a friend of mine. Why is everything peaking over here? Hold on a second. Hold on a minute. I'm trying to see if I can fix this. Just a Hammer Jam moment. All right, just give me a little Hammer Jammer. There we go. Nope, maybe not. Hammer Jam. Wow, we're still peaking. Not really sure why over there. Hold on a second. Maybe I should get this out of there. Nope, that's not it. What do we got over here? Why is it making so much noise? Hello? Hammer Jammer? Not really sure, people. Not really sure. But I don't know. It's a little weird. I don't have anything else on. And I don't think I'm peaking, but I'm peaking. It's a really weird thing. You guys hear me when I'm talking like this? I guess you can hear me, but I just don't know why it's so loud. Like, why is it peaking and being all reds over there? It shouldn't be being reds. Dagger, you like that jam? Thanks, buddy. I appreciate you. And thanks for setting up that appointment. I mean, that interview. That was awesome. I have an opportunity to chat with Ryan. We did 2 hours, 34 minutes just now, guys. We're about to hit 2:35. And I think that's a good show. 7 hours. It's only 7:15. Jeez, I'm used to showing up at 10:30 for you guys. What am I going to do with the rest of my night? Maybe I'll enjoy it and hang out and just to kind of put my feet up. Haven't done that in 548 days. I'm definitely not putting the negatube on, I'll tell you that. I may be chatting with some of my people like Dagger and Sig offline, and Rob laying out a game plan for dropping more truth on this planet. Hopefully we'll get some more great interview guests on the show. I have a feeling with the Dagger, we just keep seeing a revolving door of talent coming on the program to chat it out. And that's a good thing. We want to grow. The way we grow is by continuing to connect with new people. We did that today. Been doing with Mary Ann. She's going to be coming on Friday, I think, for her third Real Talk here. And I think she said Zach is leaving on Friday, or tomorrow. So she's going to have plenty of time to chat going forward. So we'll probably have her on every week. I think we'll have at least one day each week where Mary M comes on for some of the one of the episodes in order to drop some truth bombs on you guys. And that's a pretty cool thing, right? We're just going to continue to have new people on and some people continuing to pop back in and fill us in on what's happening out in the real world. And I think that's basically it. What else do I got? I don't think I got anything else in me, guys. 2 hours, 35 minutes. Let me just quickly check and see if I have anybody over on the Foch. I think Foch must have, blocked me, right? Am I blocked by Foch? Probably blocked by Foch because this whole topic is about 2FacedBook. They're two-faced, literally. Zucks. Look, my platform zucks. Yeah, it does. Your platform zucks. Absolutely. Listen, tomorrow, we'll be here for day 549. We're just 2 days away from the 550th day in a row of the Real Talk program. And hopefully we all remain healthy. We show up with a positive attitude, shut down the negatube, shut down the negativity, and come here and build some positivity, okay? I nailed on something today. Didn't even realize this until the moment. But you've got all this positive stuff that's happened for our country that no one's talking about, and they're trying to shade it with all of this negativity. And for a guy who left the negatube behind in order to find some positivity and build it here on this program, I see it as clear as day. I see what they're trying to do. They're trying to build us against each other, divide us so they can conquer us. I won't let it happen. I'm going to keep making Trump episodes, and we're going to keep shining the light on Sleep Sofa Joe. That's right. So don't forget it. 7:20, I don't know. You may still see me at 10:30 tonight. I doubt it, but if you do, I'm a crazy person because it's been 2:40, and I love being out here with you guys that much that I may come back out later. But if I know it's good for me, I'm going to rest, and then tomorrow I'll be back for 5, 4, 9. I think I should try to come on again early. What do you think? Tomorrow? I think midweek I should be on around 5 o'clock every single time, 4:30, 5 o'clock. What do you guys think? Doesn't that make sense? Finish up the show around now, 7:30-ish. I hear the kids moving around. Just help out. Go put the kids to sleep, right? And let's see. Maybe I'll still come back later. We still have that option. If we do, I'll be live on just a few channels. I don't think I'll go live on Facebook as well because people are sensitive over there. We just did 2 hours and 40 minutes. We don't want to see you again, Mark. But my people on YouTube will come back. My people on Periscope will come back. My people on DLive will kick back in. But Facebook? Maybe. I don't know. Maybe I'll just go live again through... What am I doing? I just did 3 hours, dude. Seriously, Mark? I told you guys, when I see a lot of people on, it's going to be scary. Because I'll be just ordering takeout to be delivered. I'll be I'm still on the air. No, just bring it. Here's your tip. Thanks. And I'll just be eating while I'm talking to you guys. Yeah, no, it's great. Sorry, I can't go off the air. We have people on. Got Dagger on. I got 6 Hour on. Sorry, can't leave them. I appreciate you guys. You guys are awesome. Remember, tomorrow, whole new Real Talk, just like every day. Go and download the podcast. It's free of charge on every podcast platform. Last episode was podcast 511. I'm sorry, podcast 66, but it's day in a row 511. And that's the episode where I did all of the Twizzlers stuff. Oh my goodness, this is awesome. Twizzlers minis. I did commercials. It's up on YouTube. You can see that. And like I said, if you have not seen, check out the Donald Trump episodes and share them. Go out and share the face swaps, guys. Spread the word. And remember, you guys have a few things. First of all, let me type this in. Don't Don't forget about Ryan's GoFundMe. I'm going to type it in real quick one more time. www.gofundme.com/F/Facebook Insider. And I'll type this in so you guys can, if you want to, like Sig did, if you want to spread a little love and support Ryan on his mission. And of course, you guys know you can support this program multiple ways, just by showing up every day, of course, spreading the word, and then you could also become a patron, like my man Sig did the other day. And actually, if I had that here, I think it may. And you also have, if you want to just instead, you can do, where was it? I think Hammer Jam. Let's see, where'd Hammerlin have? Hammerlin's got his own, I think Hammerlin has his own tip jar. Let's see what it is. What's Hammerlin's tip jar over here? Hammer Time Hot Tips. There we go. I'm just going to type it in for Hammer, because some people like to tip Hammer. And I don't want to get confused. Are they tipping the Real Talk program? They like Real Talk, or they like Hammer? So this is Hammerlin's breakdown. Let's see. Someone's calling me. It's spam. You know why I know it's spam? Because it's a 475 entry line. It pisses me off. Hammerlin. Look, Hammerlin hasn't been out here 2 days in a row. That's a problem. I think I may have to come out at 10 now. They have to do it, people. Let's see. That's Hammerlin's tip jar right there. You can show some love for Hammer. And look, Zuckerberg, he's $7 billion wiped out of his fortune by Coca-Cola. Did you see that? $7 billion. That's not an M. That's a B. That's a lot of money. But to Zuckerberg, that's right, it may not seem like a lot. I'm not really sure, but I will tell you this, okay? I'm winning big league. I'm thinking about backing out of the 2020 election. That's right. I don't like the way the polls look. Have you seen it, the polls? The polls are not in my favor. No, they're not in the Trump favor at all. What they are, they're in favor of Hillary Clinton and the Democrats and Sleep Sofa Joe. I'm trying to figure out why I'm getting like a serious peakage going over here. It's a very weird thing. Let me try something real quick. What happens when I do that? It's a little better, I think. Maybe? I don't know. Do you still hear me as well or not really? I can't tell if you hear me as well or not. I'm going to bring up the volume over here so you can see. Now I'm really peaking. Oh, look at that. Now I'm really peaking. Absolutely, we're peaking. We're not doing well. We're the peking shrimp of the month. Let's see. I'm going to just click on this and see what the hell is peaking over here. Something's going on. Something's going on over there. It's just not telling me what the F is going on. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? See, I shouldn't be negative so much on this, and it's like so loud. Bill Gates, of course. Hold on a second. Look, it's very important. Maybe it's this. Trying something. Is that any better? Maybe that'll work. It's still peaking. Does it sound alright to you guys? Hopefully it sounds alright. Hammerjab ripping the lid off. Always is ripping off the lid. On fake news. Look, you can't hold the door open and expect for the rain not to get in the friggin' house, okay? If you keep the door open, you're going to get rain in your house. It just happens. Donald has a special system. It's called Hire People with a mop to push the water out of the house, okay? Oh, guys, I'm starting to get really tired now. This happens at 3 hours. We're basically there, 2 hours and 45. Anyway, listen, tomorrow, don't forget, another Real Talk. Send in your topics, people. Send in your topics. It's the Hammer Jam. I appreciate you guys sticking around for that entire interview and getting to the deep stuff with Ryan Hartwig, Facebook whistleblower. I will see you guys tomorrow on the next Real Talk, or later tonight. You never know. Probably tomorrow. It's Mark Byers. and it's Real Talk.